Futures markets are lower to start this holiday-shortened week after already logging a negative week last week, highlighted by Fed meeting minutes, which were on Wednesday. These moves come while the 10-year Treasury hit 3-year highs, up over 2.75 this morning. Last week, healthcare was a notable sector to the upside, up about 3%, sort of bucking the trend of all the declines. We have oil on the move. Markets are bracing for some more inflation data as we get CPI coming out tomorrow on Tuesday. Individually, Twitter is down because, hey, Elon doesn't want to be part of the board anymore. Lots to talk about there. NIO has raised prices on 3 of its SUV units while halting some production, but the bigger story might be Chinese auto sales number dragging down the entire sector. Shares of Shopify are slightly up, at least they were last I checked them, after they've announced a 10-for-1 stock split. Feels like that's what everybody is doing lately. Should be a wild one. Buckle up. Futures already on the move. It is Monday, April 11th. Trader TV Live starts right now. Taking a quick look at the big board, you will see we have declines across the board there. I mean, basically the NASDAQ leading the way. I think the bigger story might be you have crude down significantly, down 3.5%, breaking that 95 per barrel number. Across the board, we have lots of crypto movement to the downside. Bitcoin and Ethereum down 3 and 5.5%. I mean, the real story is going to be we had a decline last week across the board. We're not exactly starting things off in the green here today. However, as I bring the boys in here, I want to put a smile on everybody's face. Sean, how was the party? How did everything go for your parents in their 50th?
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking. That was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I put a nice picture of us going out there, and I didn't want to spoil it too much, so I didn't tweet any other pictures out. But I know, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, the emotions were going crazy, and both my parents very emotional. So it was a really super fun time. It went well, and thanks for asking. But yeah, wow. What a crazy morning to come into. I mean, there's a few names here that have definitely popped lower than we had thought they would, including Twitter. We talked about that. And I think what's up to Playmaker and what's up to a couple of you guys there on the chat as well. What's up to Elizabeth? Thank you for your kind words about some of the pictures and whatnot that I've been posting up as well. But look, I mean, we can call Twitter up right now. It's kind of just, and I never thought about this until I was reading through Twitter again this morning, and a shout out to Playmaker and some of you other guys on there that responded. Look, this is not necessarily a horrible thing that Elon Musk is stepping down here from the board, or not taking a seat, I guess, because it does allow him to now not worry about that 14% stake that he was going to be limited to if he was going to be on that board, right? So maybe it's a tale of two stories here, because on the weekend he was tweeting out stuff about, oh, we should accept Dogecoin on Twitter. We need to do something about, what was it, about the blue check mark there, or yeah, blue users to pay with using Dogecoin. Talked about advertising and a different plan about monetization. So I was sort of, when I saw this flow through on Saturday, Sunday, I was like, okay, then we're going to be going long on Twitter, and this is going to be great. And then, of course, today we hear about the board. But look, I'm wondering if that does mean that now it allows him, to acquire a few more shares and get maybe more aggressive on that side. So what I was looking at here on Twitter, and we'll get to this, but all we have to do, in my opinion, and I talked about this in the chat, is take down this 46 level here that we were sort of bouncing around, and then Friday's bottom. And then I think we're good to go on Twitter. So let's see what happens with that one. Obviously, Tesla's rocking around there, Arun, and you covered some of your shorts you were talking about over the weekend. And even to find out today that we come in to just more, downside here, and a couple good names to watch.
Yeah, and the futures are starting to hit some edges that might kind of tip over into territory that is not going to be fun. Specifically, we're working those 44, 45 lows, which seem to be somewhat support, but if we get through that, that's going to be a problem. I see that there's a lot of questions about AT&T. I'm reading up on it. It has something to do with their spinoff of their entertainment company with Time Warner. So there's more to it. I'm trying to get the details on that. But yeah, AT&T, a big move to the downside, most likely because of the spinoff that they've had regarding HBO and Warner Brothers. So we're going to kind of get more information on that, exactly how that's going to affect AT&T in terms of today's trade. futures as a whole, we see the negative movement, right? 1.25 on the NASDAQ to the downside, 0.77 on the S&P. You see me in two positions right now, PayPal, BABA. We had BABA. BABA has been rallying since the gap open to the downside. So gap opened down and then has been rallying, but I've been fading the rally. So you see me in the short. That short's worth 81 cents right now. And PayPal also 54 cents. And we'll just go back to Neil, see what he's got for us.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, AT&T, of course, spinning off, that Discovery spinoff is now completed, right? So you actually have like Warner Brothers Discovery shares are up in the pre-market, while AT&T is a bit on the move, but most of that price movement is because of that spinoff. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we need to say hi to Ms. V. How are things?
Good morning, traders. Happy Monday to you all. I wish you a successful, profitable day. Please like this video and let's get it started, Neil.
Yes, let's get it started indeed. Now, I sort of prefaced a couple of things there saying we had a big move in oil futures, and I know we're going to talk down the line. There's a lot of tech stuff to get to here, but we're down 4.5%. There was a headline sort of just earlier this morning, Russia will not be sort of suspending hostilities for any peace talks. So you have seen some more downward pressure. Crude oil futures down almost, well, I thought we were looking at 3.5, actually looking at a little bit slightly more than that, and below that $95 a barrel here. I know we're going to talk the futures a little bit, but what are we doing today, maybe with regards to the energy space, given the weakness that we see here?
I was going to say, so Arun, I hope he looked at this because I didn't.
Yeah.
Energy down 5% today. Obviously, Oxy's down a little bit, but Oxy was running like crazy. But yeah, I see the chart now that Arun has up, and yeah, we are at a very, very key level here, I guess, of 96, 97 bucks, and now breaking back below that. So yeah, crude definitely onto the downswing here, but I think it's just an opportunity to load up the boat with oil-related names.
Well, for me, the way that, again, when I look at energy, I'm going to look specifically at the crude contract. I'm not going to go into other things. I'm not going to go into stocks, Oxy, whatever, CVX, Exxon. I'm not doing that. I'm going to go directly to crude. So when it comes to crude, we talked about this before last week. 92.50 on the bottom end. That was a support. It held a few times, bounced up, even a couple of, what was it, Wednesday or so, where maybe it was Thursday, where we actually bounced from that 94 area back towards 97 and change. We still keep getting lower and lower. We keep checking into that 92, 93 area even further. Clearly, momentum's to the sell side, but the support level's still there. You could get an off-chance rally, but at the same time, let's respect the momentum. Right now, if I pull it down to the 60-minute chart, what do you see? You see a breakdown from that 94, 95 area. Now we're even closer. We're only $1 away from the 92.50. This is getting dicey. Do I want to go for a long with this setup? Absolutely not. Do I want to go for a short right here? Absolutely not. So it's a matter of, at this point, you got to wait on this one because the short is too high of a risk, but then the long is not set up to go. So with the downside momentum, you got to be careful on what you decide to do with this one. So today's going to be an interesting day with crude for sure, because 4.5% is somewhat of a large number that we haven't seen in, I want to say, over a week or so. It's been somewhat muted, right, in terms of movement. So now we're finally getting a close, actual deep into the support area. That's going to be a problem. Keep an eye on that. See if we can actually get some movement and work a trade either through the short side, south of 92.50, or maybe if we can get us set up long in front of that 92.50, that's still on the table, but you got to be smart about how you set it up.
Absolutely. Thanks for those thoughts there. Let's dive sort of right into Twitter. I know we're going to have, in just a few minutes, we're going to have Franco from the Small Exchange, and we'll probably talk a little bit about, quite frankly, what's going on with the yield curve and probably weighing down some tech names. So I'm with you, Sean, in talking about Twitter specifically, in that initially the whole notion of Elon joining the board did have to do with sort of working at a deal that he would not acquire more shares of the company, and that would cap the amount of, not influence he could have, but any kind of a takeover talk and chatter was sort of initially quashed by that board appointment. And with him not doing that and immediately starting to talk about improvements that he feels could be there along the lines of no advertising for Blue, accepting Dogecoin or whatnot. But the other side of the coin is that if all of tech is going to be down, that will weigh on Twitter here. And the volume is tremendous pre-market. There's going to be no way to avoid this. I just look at it and say, we're right back to, in front of some pretty big levels on the daily between that 40, it's about 42 to 44 that we're starting to bounce off right now. And yeah, it's catching a little bit of a bid here. I know initially, Elon off the board had everyone thinking negative, but if there's a chance now that there could actually be some kind of a takeover, maybe a little bit more hostile action by Elon. What are we doing with it here today? Because it's going to do tons of volume, already 3 million pre-market.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've already tweeted this out. You can find it at TraderTV, Sean, on the stock, on the watch list as well, and on the sticky note today. But look, and I was talking about this in the pre-market with a few of our viewers on the chat, but I don't know. So this is the thing. It's tough to take Elon for his word sometimes, obviously, because he goes back and forth a lot, and it's social media driven. And for me, I would have liked to see the stock up today based on that news, but you're not down that far. You're only down 2.7%, which isn't huge. Like, it's going to seem like, oh my God, but look what's happening right now. Twitter's starting to get back upside right here. It's starting to go. We just made a bottom of 44.40, and now you're up 50 cents from there right now, just starting to go back up. So I think the risk to this is to the upside, not to the downside. I almost think it's the other way around. You're one tweet away from him saying, okay, I'm done with the board, time to go get more shares. Like, that's literally, I wouldn't be surprised if he tweets that right now. And maybe I don't think that's what's happening, because I think you rifle back up to 50 bucks if that happens. But, that's what I'm holding out for. I'm a shareholder, but I haven't bought any of this stock in years. So I told you where I bought it. I was buying it before as soon as Donald Trump became president, I saw how active it was. I've been a shareholder of this thing since the IPO, so I've been very, very frustrated with Twitter, and I've gotten out of it. And I don't hold it. It's by far not a big position, but I'm debating right now. I mean, honestly, if we take down 46, I think that's a good buy, and then we retrace back up at least to 48, 49 bucks here. I mean, like I said, it's a very volatile market, Twitter, right now, and it's just, you are very, very close to just being on the edge of this thing possibly getting taken over. I'm being serious. Like, I don't see why he can't put out a bid if he wants to do this. He always talks about, I don't want to say democracy or anything like that, but giving the people a voice, and this Twitter could be that, for him. And it is pocket change, anything like this. I don't think it has anything to do with Tesla at all, and I would personally, as a Tesla shareholder, rather not see any of this nonsense. But at the same time, if this gets a little more active, why couldn't we get back up to like 62, 63, 64? Like, what if Elon Musk put out, and I'm going to find out what the Twitter market cap is right now, but what if Elon Musk put out another one of those quotes? Remember when he said, Tesla gone private, 420, something like that? Like, what couldn't he just say, I'll take Tesla over for 6666, something like that, Like, and then the stock goes back to the upside there. Tesla's market cap right now, although a juicy one, probably way overvalued considering their current state, 38 billion. But again, we know the kind of money that's being thrown around here, and he wouldn't have to do it all in cash or anything like that. So let's wait to see what happens with Tesla. You never buy a stock because you think it's going to get taken over. It's just, in this situation with Twitter, I feel like all the rhetoric and all this talk means that we're going somewhere. And I just don't feel like Elon just came out and said, oh, by the way, I have 9%, and I don't plan on doing anything. So let's wait to see, unless he sold it, which, again, he doesn't have to declare that, I don't think, for a year because of the way his filing was. So he could be out, but let's just wait to see. I'm really, really interested. Obviously, we have Neil on the desk today. I have my news thing up, and then we have you guys as well. If anything comes through about Mr. Elon and Twitter today, then we really have to take a good look at that. I'm going to go long once we break through 46, but not until then.
Yeah, I'm sure he relishes in the ability to move a stock like this at a tweet. So, I want no part of that. I'm going to focus on what I have, which I can actually rely on, technicals and whatnot. I'm not going to be caught off guard by a tweet that's incoming that moves the stock in one direction or the other. So we're just going to let it be and focus on what we've got and see what else Neil has for us.
Well, I can tell you this much. The icon board here will light up on anything that Elon does decide to tweet. Obviously, we do have to keep our ears to the ground. And you're absolutely right about that, Sean. Look, we don't know if he is sold. And that's just the reality. I tend to not think that he probably has. I think that would be a bit of a bad look, but you don't know until we get to hear more. I think all bets are off in terms of like what he is going to do with the company. This market right now is obviously pretty heated here. I'm really glad we have, to start this Monday, we've got Frank Caberna from the small exchange coming through once again to talk higher level, because Frank, three-year highs on the yields. Wow, I think a lot of people are sort of waking up this morning saying, oh goodness, last week was bad. What are we going to do here? Thanks for coming on this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me once again, Neil. And yeah, it's interest rates again to kick off another week. And I think it's going to be an interesting week, though it's a shortened week. There's some data points that will definitely be pushing these markets around. As you can see right off the bat, new highs in the 10-year, new highs in the 30-year for the last several months, going back years to right before the pandemic there. The 2-year, though, is what I have my eyes on. And if we can throw to the chart here, you'll see that we're right there dancing around these highs. We backed off a little bit at the end of last week. Neil, some of the Fed chair people came out, and though they came out hawkish, reiterating that they're going to hike more than they had thought, some of the zeal got taken out because it wasn't aggressive enough. As you can see, it was week after week of new highs in short-term interest rates. But we'll see about these inflation numbers this week, Neil. We're going to have some here in the U.S. on, I believe, Wednesday, and then we're going to have also some central bank meetings out of Canada, out of the Eurozone. And if those inflation numbers don't come through, if they don't beat or they don't meet expectations, you could see these interest rates give back a lot of ground. Now, we're only a couple of days removed from the inverted yield curve that we saw last Monday, Neil. And could we get back there? I would be on the side of no, we're probably not going to be there in the long run. And I have trades set up where I'm short 2-year yields, long 10-year yields, betting on that not being where we're going to be in the long run. But if we get an inflation number that beats here in the U.S., and I know there's also some inflation numbers in Europe coming out this week as well, if those readings come in really high, we could in the short term pop right back into that inverted yield curve. So it's going to be a really, really interesting one, though actually as I speak here, 2-year rates coming off a little bit into the U.S. stock market open.
And so we're all going to be eyes on board and certainly attentive to that CPI number coming out tomorrow. Now, you've seen USD rise with rates. Is this, and there was strength to end the week as well, is this something that you expect to continue here? Can we see this US dollar strength continue to rally?
Yeah, you have a U.S. dollar market here at highs as well, going back to, I believe it's at least 2 or 3 years now. And if you can throw to the chart here, you'll see those highs that similar to those 2-year rates, Neil, we're like right there. They're not blowing them out this morning, but they're through those highs if you wanted to get some short USD. But I don't see this trend necessarily sticking in the long run. That is, I don't see if rates continue higher in the 2-year, 10-year, and 30-year here in the U.S. I don't think it's sustainable that this USD just continues higher as well. I mean, you're going to see some really interesting central bank meetings, not out of the U.S. this week, but out of Canada, out of the ECB. And if they come out just as hawkish as the U.S., or they have a surprise hike, or they go a little bit higher, I think the BOC is expected to hike this week. If they hike more basis points than expected, or they come out and they say, we're going to be hiking a lot this year, you could see that Canadian dollar start to beat up the US dollar. You could see that euro that hasn't been able to be lifted off of its lows, maybe see a little bit of a bounce back. I wouldn't be surprised if interest rates hold on to these highs, or if we do get a high inflation number, Neil, interest rates continue higher. But depending on what comes out of the BOC or the ECB, it doesn't necessitate that US dollar continues higher as well. Remember that currencies are more of a relative game there. It's not just, US rates are higher, then USD goes higher. If US rates are higher, but Canadian rates, European rates, someone else out there is beating our rates a little bit higher relatively, that USD could come down with rates even sticking to the highs.
Yeah, I love that analogy. It's like the stadium one. Like if you stand up in the middle of a crowded stadium, you'll see better. But if everyone stands up at the same time, nothing's changed, right? I got sports on the brain. But lastly, you talked about the U.S. dollar strength. Now in this room, and I'm looking at the team around here, everyone's a little bit interested in what's going on in crypto land, because Bitcoin is now within spitting distance of that 40,000 again. So you're seeing with U.S. dollar strength, we're getting some weakness coming into the crypto markets. So tell us about what's going on there.
Yeah, here we can throw up the small technology index, which is an equity index futures market, but it's comprised largely of tech stocks and actually has a good correlation to cryptocurrency. I know a lot of people looking for cryptocurrency to either act like a foreign exchange market or act like a metals market. For all intents and purposes, this is a risk on market that is similar to stocks. And you've seen some of the weakness last week in both technology stocks and crypto. I mean, they closed out the week pretty poor. More or less 3 or 4 days straight lower. And we're seeing a little bit more of that going into today's U.S. equity open. I mean, I don't want to say you see a yield curve inversion and stocks must come off, stocks must crash, but the historical case has been made. I mean, every time we've seen a yield curve inversion going back to the year 2000, Neil, we've seen stocks weaker in the year that follows. I don't hang my hat necessarily on some stuff like that. I think we could see a short-term bounce in these risk on markets, because I also have statistics to tell you that the more days in a row that an equity market moves lower, the more likely it is that next day to bounce back. Everybody who talks about buying the dip and everything else, that's the stats behind it. The equity market moves higher on any given day about 55% of the time. After a move lower, Neil, about 60% of the time. After 2 moves lower in a row, it's up to 65% of the time. So I could see a short-term bounce back in stocks, in cryptocurrency. But man, in the long term, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if rates hold in higher, if rates move even higher, if that 10-year gets above 3%, I think it might be tougher for these equities to get back to those new highs and make new highs like they have in past years. So maybe some short-term bounce back effect, but in the long term, it could be a little bit of a rough go for tech stocks and these cryptos, given that interest rate action.
That's fair. But you had us all at that little short-term bounce. And I get it. Sometimes those best bounces do come in weaker markets. Once again, Frank, thank you for coming on this morning. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the later on this week. Best of luck in all of your trading as well. There we have it. Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content and Creative at the Small Exchange. So once again, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
There we go. And immediately, I want to get your thoughts on this, Sean, because we talked a little about crypto, and they've been that risk on, risk off, right? Like following along with the market. So we get the downward movement here in the overall market, and we're approaching that 40,000. But is this where we find support, or are we actually waiting a little bit longer?
No, yeah, we're waiting longer because obviously, as the NASDAQ, as Frank was mentioning there, with rates only going up in the long term and in the short term, I mean, the 30-year is now going to be looked at. We've already talked about the 10-year heading over that 2.7, which is pretty nasty. And I just look at Coinbase here, and I haven't bought a damn more shares of this name. We sold this at 360, a little bit of it anyway, about half of it at 360, and been holding the bag all the way to the downside. Like Coinbase today could be one of the better shorts, breaking down below some of these levels right now. I mean, 156 is where we close, I guess, on, we're only down 2.5%, which is, I think we should be down more. 156 is where we are now. We closed there at 160 to the downside move. And if you're looking at Coinbase chart like we just were on the daily here, and again, I know we're talking, this is the equity, and I will talk about Bitcoin being at 40,000 as well. You are getting a temporary bounce, but I mean, look at Coinbase. This is when we last made a nice move down there in March. You know, BTC retraced back up. What a great opportunity that was to get out, obviously, but it also did look like it was breaking out. And we did talk about BTC, and I was like, okay, now that we're through 40, you know, next stop, 55. And unfortunately, let's just call up a daily chart here so we're not panicking too much, because again, we don't scalp crypto on the show or anything like that. We did get to not 55, we got to 48, but we didn't take out 50. So this little bouncing around movement here, I think is pretty expected for crypto. And when what Neil asked was, you know, are we buying now or are we waiting a bit longer? Like, I don't see why the NASDAQ doesn't stop going down right now. And if you watch the fall, since 2022. We know the NASDAQ is down. We had a 4% move last week on the NASDAQ. So crypto comes back down. You don't buy, in my opinion, any Bitcoin or Solana or Ethereum. Ethereum's close to 3,000, almost breaking 3,000 to the downside as well. So for me, I think it's a pretty big wait hold, I guess, and wait and see if this 35 holds one more time. So I believe we get a retest back down there. And as traders need capital, look, a lot of our money, and I tweeted, some things out about just some memes and things like that. And it's like, we're all rich, but it's Bitcoin rich. And we just saw Bitcoin Miami go down. Shout out to some of our viewers there, that cool bull and everything like that. But yeah, look, I think there's a lot of love for Bitcoin. We know Kevin O'Leary, likes crypto as a longer term play. And so do I. It's just like, right now, honestly, I think cash is going to be king, and it's going to be like that for a while. Even Frank was throwing some, I guess, a little cold water there on the US dollar. So look, I mean, I don't know where to put your money, but I think in your pocket right now is the best place. So I'm not going to do anything with crypto. I do like some of the bank names, though. So I'm almost going from crypto back into traditional banking. Some of these big US money center banks that have tons of reserve, raising interest rates, generally a good thing for them. So I've talked about you guys on the chat here with XLF and things like that. And also, look, I don't want, some people saying here, the only thing that's going to save Twitter is Elon tweeting stuff. Like, the amount of money that I have in Twitter, I'm not even in it right now, so I could care less if he tweets anything. I just think that, it's, and this is what Arun said as well, is that if you're looking at Twitter right now, it's down. The momentum is down. The market is down. So Twitter's going to go down. It's been one of the worst performing stocks over the last decade. We've highlighted that. Not the worst performing. There's many more. But as for the big cap tech stocks go, I just feel like if it's going to get going, you are 1 or 2 tweets away from either this thing going the other way, because he could also tweet that, hey, he's trimmed his 9%. That's possible as well. Or he could tweet that he's adding to that. So I just feel like you guys out there, if we're going to be an education show, Arun, and talk about opportunities, then I think the right thing to talk about is you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to what Neil's going to put out. You're going to have to pay attention. I would even honestly use TweetDeck and highlight, like if I was a big shareholder in Twitter, I would wait to see over the next couple of days, is there something coming from this guy that can rally the stock? So that's the stuff that I'm looking for in Twitter. And yeah, I don't plan to have too many positions on unless we break through 46. And if that happens, then for me, it's risk on Twitter. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm all about risk control. And if I know there's headline risk, especially on Twitter, it's different if the Fed comes out of nowhere and says something. You can't control that. But with Twitter being in the news so much, and there's headline risk, I would just avoid the entire situation, right? That's just money being lost or gained. You're going to flip a coin which direction that news comes out. And so I'm not even going to touch it like I mentioned off the top. We're going to go to Neil. He's at the big screen with upgrades and downgrades. And I see a big one there that I want to talk about when we get back. NVIDIA there I see on the downgrade, Neil.
Yeah, there's a big one on that left side of the board for the downgrades. But Sean makes a really good point about TweetDeck. Look, when President Trump was tweeting all the time, I had a column dedicated on TweetDeck just to follow him. I think if you're trading Twitter today, you better do that. That auto refresh is going to be key because any kind of headline can drop things or cause a big move up. Now, on the upgrade side of the board, you do have JetBlue in here and AT&T, which, hey, JP Morgan Chase tends to think that now they can focus on their core business a little bit now that spinoff is done. So they are catching an upgrade this morning. Wells Fargo catching an upgrade as well. Sean was just talking about some of the banks. We're going to get those earnings starting this week. JPM on Wednesday, 4 more coming in on Thursday. But as you mentioned, Arun, the large one on the downside here is NVIDIA. They're on the watch list as well. Baird, some concerns that there could be order cancellations and reductions. Demand creeping in is a bit of a problem for NVIDIA and across the space. Down significantly on this downgrade. That price target cut to 225 was from 360. So quite a hefty price target cut as well. There's a lot to watch today, and apparently Arun is short the entire market.
We're getting there. So I've got a bunch of orders out. I've only got 3 fills. So you see me short Apple, 24 cents in the money. PayPal, 27 cents in the money. Baba, $1.32 in the money. But again, it's pre-market. Things can turn real quick. We know how this goes in pre-market, so let's get to the open, and then maybe we can lock some gains in. But NVIDIA was the one that I was just like, when I came in, I'm like, man, NVIDIA approaching that 230. This is going to be good if we can just get to 230. And then I come and see where NVIDIA is actually at. I was like, oh, okay, there's my line. That's where I wanted to short it. and NVIDIA is trading all the way down here. There's no chance I get the short. Now the risk on this trade is just crazy high, so there's no way I'm going to touch it. So that would have been a great trade up at that price. As you can see, also, whenever we made that 4 o'clock move this morning through that 230, stops have definitely gone off. There's about 10,000, almost 11,000 shares that went off from 230 all the way down to 225.5. So huge move through there. Stops going off, and now that's going to be a problem, and that's going to be the level to watch going forward. But damn, NVIDIA at 230 would have been solid. But like I said, I am looking to pick up some more shorts, so we've still got another 5 orders waiting to get filled on the short side, by the way. So this is going to be one of those days where I'm going to get run over on the short side with a ton of shorts, or market's going to fall off and I'm going to print some money. So we'll see how this market goes, but I'm okay with the risk that I'm taking, and we'll just play it out.
So wait a second. So you're either going to make a lot of money or lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so look, I don't know. You're throwing too much shade on NVIDIA, man. It can easily get back to 230.
I'm just talking technicals.
No, I know, but I think, do you have an order? What I'm getting at
No, I don't have an order for NVIDIA.
Right, so
the risk
like,
is too high.
what if, let's just talk about this quickly. What if NVIDIA does get to 228 or so? Are you a short in front of 230? Or would you rather have shorted it on the way down, breaking that 230, and you don't want to touch it if we go back above? Because I'm going to talk about AMD here, and it's broken through 100, but that's why I wanted to get your opinion. What if we do retrace back up? Because there's going to be a lot of people asking those questions. The market could, and this happens all the time, as we know, a little bit of a relief rally because it's so down. You know, people buy it up, they put in those market orders, and they can't believe NVIDIA got downgraded, whatever. They buy it up, and it does get back to that. Let's just say, I mean, you're going to have the chart up right now,
Yeah.
but let's just say 228, 229. Like, give me a play here on NVIDIA. Do you touch it if it gets back to 230, or is it almost risk off because we've already broken below?
Okay, so the problem with the way NVIDIA is trading is 230 break would have been the trade I would have wanted.
Right.
But now we're all the way down at 222. If you were in that 230 break, the trade's already been done for the most part. You just manage it out now. If it came back to 230, it's going to be a problem because now they could have easily built up something in the 225s that I got to worry about. So yeah, I keep an eye on this around 230, but I won't take the trade immediately. I want to see it set up again. It's good the first time. The second time around, after this deep of a move, I'm going to wait for a setup. And you got to ignore this big bar here at 8 o'clock. That's just the dark pool prints being inserted into the book. That's why you see a high of 229.81. That's not real. Market never traded up there. Well, they inserted the print up there, but they never actually traded because the print would have actually started at 222.60 something, right? So you see all these prints, crazy prints up there, dark pool prints being inserted into the book. Not that big of a deal. Happens on every stock at 8 o'clock in the morning as we open up for, I guess, when they update the system anyways. Neil.
Yeah, a few things, we're going to keep our ears to the ground here, but Elon Musk, in an amended filing, says he may engage in discussions with the Twitter board. That just hitting the wire, as well, getting some news out of Hoth, if you remember that small cap stock. They just reported that cancer therapy has shown promise in lab studies, and Bed Bath & Beyond expected to post earnings of 4 cents a share. So 3 things on the move. We know Twitter is going to be on everybody's radar. I think that goes without saying, guys, and that's why, it's going to lead things today on our watch list, obviously. So our free watch list, watchlist.tradertv.live. You can also scan the QR code. You want to trade what's moving. I know that we're getting a massive market overall movement today and expectations that we could see that throughout the rest of the week. But there are some individual names that I think are leading the way, of course, Twitter being one of them. And we've already talked a little bit about Twitter, but I just noted that, yeah, they're continuing to bounce a little bit there. So if he's engaging with the board, that could still mean that he could take further action in terms of whether or not he would want to go private or whether he would continue to want to push for changes. It may not matter that he's on the board or not for Elon Musk. We've talked extensively about Twitter. I did want to jump to Tesla here if we can for a second, because I know, Sean, you're already short NIO. And we had EV news across the board, guys. And the big news coming out is that China has slowed in their sales, about 11% to the downside on EV sales. And specifically, you are going to see NIO and XPeng down, but shares of Tesla down 4.5% below that $1,000 mark. So clearly, this is a day where Tesla is going to be under a little bit of pressure, and we should be watching it.
Yeah, no, I was all happy buying Tesla at 1040 or 1060, whatever it was, and now you're back down in here. So, look, I still obviously believe in the name. We've talked about that over and over again, but we also talked last week about China, and I mean, they're shutting down everywhere there. And I mean, and it's a big, huge opportunity for, you know, I'm hoping for opportunity for investors to start dipping their toes again into Twitter. But you do have that 750 level. And if I talked about the NASDAQ retracing back in, I mean, obviously the big boys, you see Microsoft coming back through 290 or near 290. You see Apple taking down that 170. We're going to open up. Arun's already short Apple there, 167 and change for Apple. But yeah, Tesla, you know, weaker sales in China. That's not going to help anything. But again, I think you have to take a longer-term frame look on this because Tesla is splitting again, you know, while looking like they're going to be splitting again. And, you know, if that does happen, you do have more runway to the upside. We saw what was happening the last time they split. And it's just... It's been a bad move to the downside. We bought it in here. No, it was in here. Yeah, so it must have been 1060. Yeah, we bought it that morning. So 1061 or 2. It goes all the way up to 1160, and now you're going to be down to 960 today. So just the roller coaster ride continues for Elon and company. And like just like I mentioned there, that we were waiting for Elon tweets. One comes out, and then Neil gives it to us right there. And Twitter almost goes through that 46 level. So if you're there, Elizabeth Goodyear, you just had an out there if you wanted it. But you know, you're going to wait to see now a 975 coming back in for Tesla. There really is no areas here. I mean, look at this move to the upside. I don't really see any areas where there could be some support. I mean, maybe down to 900 if you get there, but it's already a big move to the downside here for Twitter. So we talked about it breaking that 1020, and just like NVIDIA, you know, look how good this 1020 level is right here. You just put a mark there. This would have been pretty cool if we opened up above 1020. So I think the same analysis. And if you notice there on the chat how I led Arun to that question, it's because I still feel there is a bounce back opportunity here for some of us trade today. And if you get that same very similar move, like we talked about on NVIDIA, like we're going to talk about on AMD, breaking back through that 100 level, you know, this area of 1020 would have been awesome to smash this to the downside, but you're opening up below. So right now you have to reassess and take sort of the longer, not the longer term look, but the look that Arun gave us, and that is that let's wait to see if we do take it back to the upside, does it set up again for another move back down in? And if it does, then you got to watch out for that 1,000 level. I think it's a pretty good short into 1,000, and then you use 1020 as your stop. So hey, if you're trading it today, you may get another opportunity off the open to bump up to 10,000 to 1,000, and then if you get to 1,000, then you're looking at that 1,020 level as an area of possible resistance before we come back in again, and I think retest lower. So that's going to be Tesla. But before I throw it to Arun, we haven't looked at imbalances yet, so let's have a quick look at that. The NASDAQ's going to come out at 925. So right now you're just going to see all NYs here, which is of course New York, and then you have RIG on the top side. I'm already short NEO, has absolutely nothing to do with this. As you can see, my position's going up against me. So NEO now going back up, and other than that, really nothing on here. So two big ones, and then we already talked about the AT&T being discovered with Discovery today, and that split happening. So, or not split, that spin-off happening with Discovery, so thanks Arun for that one. But yeah, so it should be a fun day today, and that's my little take on Tesla. Are you doing a little bit of a market review?
Yeah, let's do the futures. It's usually 9 o'clock. We're a little bit later than that, but we can go right into the futures here. And remember, on Friday, I was working that 44.90 short pretty much all day. It went like 25 points against me. I was like, I'm fine. As long as we can fade it inside the zone, we're okay, we're okay. Clearly, you know, as a day trading office, we got to be flat by the end of the day. We ran out of time, so best exits were in the 80s and the mid-80s, right? So we walked away from it with a small gain. If you were able to hold on to it, this is exactly what you're looking for. You wish for it to happen throughout the day, but in this case, it happens overnight. Now we're in the bottom band, and we need to get through this 44.45. There's a chance we can still bounce, but if we can get through this little support area, it's just, I have it marked off, but I don't really care for it as a support area, more so as an area that I want to watch where buyers are staying, because this level is very flexible. If we can get underneath and then get a bounce back towards 50s that fails, then I'm going to start using this white line, which is around the 60 to 65 area, as the new stop that I want to work with. So sub 50, south of 45, stay there for a bit, bounce back up, fail, and then you go for the short. That's what I'm looking to do. On top of the market, I'm looking to get a short, any bounces, as long as we can get through that 45. flip side is we catch a bid again. We've had this done like 2 or 3 times now. We catch a bid again in these 50s and we run up 40, 50 points. In the event that happens, I'm going to get run over on all my shorts. But based on the momentum and the way the volume's coming in, I would imagine that we are going to take a look at these 45s at the very least, and that's what we're looking for. That's it on the S&P side. And before we go to Valeria, on the NASDAQ side, I want to touch on this real quick. Somebody was talking about the Qs. You can also look at the Qs as gapping because it's on the equity side. But if you want to just look at the NASDAQ index futures, the NASDAQ June contract, which is NQM2, you can avoid that whole gap situation and you see the momentum carrying overnight, right? Because this is almost 24 hours when it trades. And here it is broken past that 14,200, which was critical for me. The way I was looking at it, 14,200 was a critical level. As long as we stayed above, there was a chance we bounced. We've lost that now. We're at 14,150. So now I'm thinking any bounces back towards 14,500, I'm going to look to fade. And that's why I'm going after Apple. That's why I'm going after a lot of these tech names, PayPal. And I've got a bunch of other tech names that I'm looking to fade because I want to fade any rally on the NASDAQ to the upside all the way up to 14,500. Valeria.
Everyone who just joined us, I remind you to like this video as we need just 400 more likes to get 1,000. And now let's continue with Neil.
Thank you very much, Ms. V. We'll get a few names out of the way right off the bat with the next on the watch list. Big tech. With rates going to be going up, and we talked about the treasuries with Frank there, you're seeing some pretty big, not huge declines percentage-wise, but levels getting taken out. You just mentioned the futures levels there, Arun, but I'm looking at Microsoft specifically here on big tech, 295. You had last week's bottom, and you're now gapping below that, and you have significant support down around 270. That's a good $25 away. So whether you're talking Apple, Softy, Google, you could talk Amazon as well, but specifically Microsoft here, breaking below that support. It could get pretty dicey if we can't reclaim those levels.
The whole issue with Microsoft, and I was going through these top tech names because of what I wanted to do with the futures. I was looking at Microsoft, I was looking at Apple, I was like, which one's the weakest one? Because they're so very close in terms of weighting at the top of the NASDAQ list, 12% and 11% or something like that. That always changes slightly, but they're 1 and 2 at the top of the index weight, right? So I'm looking at the two of them, and I don't want to be short both. I want to short the weakest one of the two, and I'm looking at Microsoft going, oh yeah, you know what, if we break, and I look at the daily first, I'm like, if we break 288 or so, I think we kind of blow through any support that we have. So then I go to see what we did overnight, and we did move down, but we're still at 292. I'm like, okay, well, this could be a problem because Microsoft still has some support to the downside. So it could easily go another 3 points down towards 289 and still bounce. And I got to be worried about that. So I don't feel that Microsoft was the right place to put the risk because of where it's sitting on the daily. It has a decent chance actually to catch a bid and go back up into that 295, 296 area that where we did gap from. That area, though, could open up a different set of trades towards the 300. But again, we need to get that bounce going. So I'd rather focus on the short and fading any bounces that are available right now versus trying to wait to see what would happen if we were to get to 295. But again, you got to essentially pick, right? Are you going to go after Microsoft or Apple? Because if you go after both and the market as a whole decides to turn, you're going to get run over very quick. So to avoid that situation to the best of your ability, I think it's better to kind of spread it out a little bit away from the top of the list, top of the index weight, away from Microsoft and Apple at the same time.
Thank you very much there. I want to talk quickly, if we can, just going right over to NIO, because I know you're in position here, Sean. We talked about Tesla specifically and Chinese auto sales as well, but I think part of the bigger story for NIO specifically here is that you have increases, of course, all of their SUVs, and they're specifically shutting down plants. Now, they were down over 10% SSR just a few minutes ago. They're bouncing a little bit here, but we talk about names that have broken support. You've broken down below a 19 for support on the daily chart, which is pretty dicey. Again, it looks a lot like what we just saw in Microsoft, where you're gapping down below previous support. And where could this bottom be? But just keep in mind, down 10% does mean it has a short sell restriction. At least it should.
I just averaged in as well. So we just took another average in here. I'll just go on the minute chart just to give you guys a look here. I don't know why I get into these early. Like this always happens to me. I just get in and it's like, okay, sometimes it's to the downside. And NEO, again, trading with big volume, 3.6 million shares. So I'm comfortable doing it. I just wasn't sure that we'd be making this move back to the upside. Obviously, we'll be watching the NASDAQ today, and we've just broken that down for you a little bit. So let's just go stock specific here. Look, NEO. And again, I actually, for a long term, I don't mind the stock. It's just for right now, I mean, we've broken down below this $20 mark and cutting production. That was, to me, the big note that came through today about NEO. Sure, they are raising some prices on their vehicles. We saw with Rivian that didn't work out too well. But again, Rivian's actually not sell. I mean, Rivian will sell cars. It's just NEO is actually producing and going forward with a lot of this. But the thing about it is like now you're broken down below these key levels, and I just don't see NEO going back to the upside today. A lot of negativity in the marketplace. But again, like the NASDAQ's trying to bump right now. So we'll wait to see if we do get a NEO push. And if we do, then unfortunately, like my main man over here, I don't want to say I'm not going to get shut down on NEO, because the plan that I always have is I'm only going to try to lose 25 to 30, I'll up that another 5%, 25 to 30% of my shutdown. So, and what I mean by that is if you have one idea for a stock and it goes against you, that shouldn't kill the rest of your day. So what I'm going to do here is if you have an $1,000 stop, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to put more than $250 to $300 worth of risk into this trade. Our stops, let's be honest, let's admit it, are going to be higher than that. But the point is that you got to watch, and I'm talking about on the daily, right? So on a daily loss limit. So you're going to have to watch out for that. But 1950, honestly, like I don't see us getting back up to there. But if we do, I am going to have to cut the losses on this name and reevaluate. So that's what we're going to do. I just don't see the reason for this to go back up. Put in the chat if you guys think, what the situation would be. I do like the battery swapping idea. I do think that they could sell that and build out the right infrastructure to make that happen. We know Li Auto is going to be another name on watch today. That's just LI. Oh, those two are on the NASDAQ, of course, Li Auto and XPeng, but you're going to have to watch out for these names as well today. XPEV over there on the NASDAQ. You see Li only down 5. What's XPEV down? So this could be, and again, this could be another... Li is NASDAQ, XPEV is New York. Oh, my God. Going back and forth here. So that could be the reason maybe for NEO to get back upside. Maybe it's just beat down too much. These names only down 6 or 7%. NEO down almost that 10%. But I'm going to be short NEO. And as it's going back up right now, so we're only out of the money 14 cents. I mean, Crimea River right now. But it is starting to go back up to the upside. I look to get shorting more at 18.50. Then let's reassess at 19. And then hopefully I don't have to answer these questions at 19.50.
Yeah, hopefully. And look, it's not all doom and gloom. There is something up today. And Shopify, we're going to get to this one here, a 10-for-1 split of both their Class A and Class B shares. This stock could be getting woodshedded the last week, and it already broke support down around like a 666, oddly enough. And it's holding up right now, but only barely. Like, it's actually been coming down significantly. It was up about 3 or 4% more and has been trying to hold this off as the market starts to come down here. So we know that splits like this tend not to usually make material differences here, but Shopify with a 10-for-1 anyways. What are you guys' thoughts here? Is this going to be able to hold up? Is this good enough news? Or is this kind of a little bit of window dressing? It's not going to matter.
Tough one to trade. Shop's already aggressive as it is. And then I'm looking on the daily. I was like, oh, you know what? Let's see what it's got south of 600, which is right down here. If I were to draw it out, it's right about right there, right? And that's what it looked like on Friday. And then you come into overnight, and this is what you got. You got barely any trades, and Shop is already aggressive, so you don't have a ton of volume going through. And then you get this huge move at 655 that has about 4,500 shares from underneath all the way up to like 640. And then now we're trading back above 600. I'm not touching it. The volatility is crazy. And then you're going to give me overnight action like this. No, this is just way too much aggression for a name like this to try and take a trade when the range already is large. So I'm going to walk away from this. I've got other names that I can work with. Shop, not touching it.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Shop either. I didn't think it was official yet that we had that 10 for 1, but maybe, I mean, maybe it is. But yeah, I think they still have to vote on it. But anyways, Shopify, I mean, Arun just talked about it. I'll show it to you in Toronto. You know, I don't have too much love for Shopify. I've recently bought Shopify on the way down, but I think that was a mistake, honestly. Just in Toronto, just so you guys, the daily chart won't load. But anyways, Arun's already talked about this, but you could even break lower than this. I don't think they're saving anything by reverse splitting. It's a lot different when we want to buy stocks like Tesla on a split, or this is not a reverse split. When you want to buy Tesla on a split, or you want to buy NVIDIA on a split, or Amazon, or Google. I don't like the underlying issues here with Shopify, including, you know, margins are gonna get squeezed at some point with what they take on the website sales. It's just become way too easy to monetize for Apple Pay, Google Pay, things like that. And I really worry about competition coming for Shopify. And there were so many small businesses opened during the pandemic that was really the best time. And I mean, obviously, yeah, see, I should have known that. Shopify, you open that up on the Toronto. We don't, oops, and I did NF. But anyways, here it is up here. Let me give it to you on e-signal quickly for Shopify here. It was such a great pandemic play that a lot of us, you know, now know the story with Shopify. You can see all the way back here of April 2020, this name was $300, right? So that's the pandemic. It ran all the way to $1,700. So you're talking about 5, 6x here on that move. And it's not a straight line, but come on. I mean, buying any of these dips at all times would have been great for Shopify until now. So that's the issue. I think you got to wait again for, honestly, you may come down to $500 now. So you're going to have to watch out for that. If this market continues to puke down, Shopify, I believe, is a buy somewhere in here. But if you get, like, we're almost back to where we were at the pandemic times. So look, man, you're giving up everything. Let's wait to see. For me, you have to wait for Shopify to report. And when they do, then it's going to get spicy again. But right now, 921, I'm not buying Shopify in any dips.
Just quickly here, a couple of news stories. One, Lowe's has lost their CEO, stepping away to join Pfizer. They're down just over 1%, but not a lot of volume. But here's another story. Luckin Coffee is rising as it emerges from bankruptcy proceedings. So they trade on the OTC, of course. Shout out to Jeff Mendelar, one of our good friends from the OTC markets. Up 3% pre-market at about $9. They're down 6 on the year. They say they are now positioned for sustainable growth and profitability. And we'll see how much volume they do in the open market. I know that's something that sometimes we do look at the OTC markets for any kind of volume and opportunities there, Sean. Something you might be looking at today. Just had this come across the wire minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, now my charts have to wait to load up here, but we'll go to the daily chart again from eSignal here for Luckin Coffee. But yeah, no, look. Yeah, sure. They're returning to profitability. Yeah, I got you, Luckin Coffee. Sure you are. But I mean, I don't know. It's been pretty up and down. I mean, why was this $17 back in August in the first place, or September, and then you dip down to $6 again? I still think the worries are there in China. I mean, again, if all the cities are shut down, I mean, who's rolling up to Luckin Coffees to grab coffee? I don't know, but this is a name that you're going to have to wait for it to graduate back up to the NASDAQ. If you did believe that this is something that you wanted to get your money into, great. But if I remember correctly, I believe we came down to the NASDAQ at $2. Yeah, we did. So there it is. So we went down to $2.11 here on the NASDAQ. We actually, you know, delisted down here to 4 and then back in. So I think we have Jeff Mendel on tomorrow. We'll talk to him about when he thinks this could go back up. But again, it's a file. They have to file to go back upside, and then we'll see if that gets going for Luckin Coffee. So it seems like it with this report, and if they can get back over to the NASDAQ, then there is always a little temporary bump for Luckin Coffee. So we can see it here on our platform. And again, you know, there it goes. Now we'll load. You're up to $9. We don't show any pre-market trading on the OTC markets, but I'll take Neil's word for it that there's a couple thousand shares already going through on this. So watch out for Luckin Coffee. Obviously, it's heading down to the downside, now saved by some of this talk. I can't get myself to be long Luckin Coffee at the same time as being short NEO, talking about Tesla problems, looking at NVIDIA short, looking at AMD shorts, things like that. I wouldn't be able to wrap my mind around a Luckin Coffee short. And Arun, I'm not even going to ask you about it. So I'm going to throw back over to Neil at the big screen. Let's talk about a little small cap name here.
Yeah, we got a few small cap names on the watch list here today. Veru, one of them. They had positive results from their COVID-19 treatment. And you're going to see on the daily chart, just going to quickly point out, you've got this big 650 area top. Now, it's broken a couple of times here, but 650 to 670 is obvious resistance. It did put in a failure at that price pre-market. There would have been a chance at a short for a lower consolidation, but then we actually tested that double top high. So I jumped into the short. It'll be a quick stop if we take out 620 here. We're already taking some out at 580. Next level's down. Yeah, going to cover some at 560, and then looking for a dip down into that 540. If you hold an area like this, we know all morning long it is a positive catalyst. If we cannot break that 525, 530 area, decent chance that maybe you have a secondary breakout. But this has a decent float. It's about 60 million shares. That is still relatively small, although the ones under 10 tend to be of more concern. This one looking like it'll continue to do fantastic volume, bit of a bullish trend. So have to have that hard stop at that high.
All right, we got imbalances coming out soon on NASDAQ, I believe, at 925. They changed it. They used to have it at 928, and I believe they changed it to 925 now.
It's right now.
So AT&T, I've got Apple, so we'll keep an eye on it. What do we got here? Yeah, here come the imbalances. Largest one is SNDL.
Forget about that.
SNDL on buy side. KL. Largest NASDAQ is SNDL, but in terms of absolute size, AT&T at the top, 1.4, RIG, 1.1 on the sell side, and NAT, 1.1 on the buy side.
Apple's at the bottom there, 160.
Yeah, Apple really hasn't moved, though. It's still whatever it was. One that did flip around was not PayPal. Damn, PayPal was in the money for a while now, and PayPal's now back north of 109.50. Okay. PayPal is going to be a problem. It looks like going into the open. So that one's out 23 cents. But everything else, again, we're waiting. I've got a bunch of orders out. AMD, damn AMD. I've been trying to get my hands on AMD as well. Now it's south of 99. I had a chance to get it at 40. And I'm like, no, I don't want 40s. I want it higher. And now they're already south of 99.
It'll come back up, man. It'll come
I'm
back
not
up.
moving the order. That's where I'm going to price it. But I do wish that they had moved earlier.
I did want to, Valeri, maybe if you can double check this for me. ACI Albertsons reports. I was going to say Tuesday or Wednesday, ACI, and we saw Kroger, so I just want to get everyone's attention on this one. I probably will, and I got to say this now before the market opens, I probably will be buying options at some point today on ACI to take out 40 and higher on that one, with Albertsons starting to move the last couple of days. Food inflation, food this, food that, everything gets passed on to us, the consumer. So I don't think this is going to be a problem for them. I feel like Albertsons on the heels of Kroger back up to the upside. So again, I'm saying this right now, and I don't know if legally I need to do this. I always see people do it on the other channels, but I have no position in ACI right now, so I'm not talking up anything that I own. And the fact that I want to buy options at some point today means I should talk it down. But no, I think Albertsons is a good money-making opportunity for a lot of us today, especially if you see what Kroger's done the last little while. Imagine ACI comes out with good numbers, and then something happens as far as possible takeout or activist movement or something like that on ACI. I like it. I like Albertsons, and I'm just going to tell you that right now. And if it does, kick us in the face on their report, then that's good. But we will throw over to Miss V when she gets that ACI. I believe it could be today, it could be tonight, it could be tomorrow. But Albertsons is coming at some point this week, along with big banks. I like big banks. I talked about VFN. Someone mentioned to me there. I think it was Alex Enzo or someone. That's probably wrong. Or XLF. I like all the banks, especially BAC. I like JP Morgan as well. But look at NEO right now. I know you talked about some of these positions coming back in for us. Here comes NEO right now, coming back into the downside off that last little reload there. And it was a good reload because now my average price is right here at 1805. I believe NEO breaks down this bottom here, but my first bid's going to be at 1785 or so. That's the pre-market low. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey Sean, ACI is going to report earnings tomorrow before the market opens. And also guys, just a few minutes left until the opening bell. So please smash the like button and have a fantastic day, everyone.
Yeah, so there it is. So we're going to go woohoo, and we'll do a little bit of Raptor action as they take on. And I know Neil was looking to take the Bulls. The Bulls had a huge slide over the last couple months. So obviously, I don't think Neil's money would be on the Bulls anymore. But I have the Sixers, and a friend of mine here has the Bucks. So, you know, I don't know. Now I'm down with the Sixers, like boo Sixers, because of the Raptors. So I actually hope both the Sixers and the Bucks lose, and then I don't have to worry about it. But right now, Neo is making that move to the downside right now. Yeah, NBA playoffs going to be spicy, man. Brooklyn takes on Cleveland. I really hope Cleveland wins that, just because I'm tired of like all these super teams trying to dominate. And I said an interesting stat to Neil the other day about NBA and the flip-flops of talent there, and we'll get to that as the market opens, because there's only a minute left right now, so screw the NBA for right now. Here we go. Neil breaking down below just to get you guys into that. We are getting out at 1780, like 30% if it goes down. I'll take the win at this point. One more name, SoFi, that we didn't get to. That's what it was. SoFi today, shade coming on SoFi, and unfortunately, I have to throw some more shade on this name. I am long this name, but for a day trade, man, this name is sick right now. It's down 2.29%. I don't think that they're very good in this raising rate environment, especially when they can't collect on any of these student loans, as the moratorium or whatever for those has been extended. There's no Joe Biden last week, obviously the president there, talked that up, and student loan forgiveness continues. So SoFi right now at that bottom. This is a daily for SoFi. So man, every tick down is lower for them. So I look to get short right now. 775 would be great all the way up, and then my out's going to be 810. When we only have right now, sorry about that, Arun, we only have a couple seconds left to go. Watch out for your NVIDIAs, your AMDs, things like that. 6, 5, and Miss V's in green, so hey, I like it. 2 and 1, let's go. Let's get this market open and ready to rock and roll, as right now Neo opens up, and let's go. I know you have more positions on than I do, so let's take it over, Arun. Let's go.
Oh, NVIDIA, AMD, wait for me, please. AMD's already at 98. Man, that one's gone. The other ones were Baba's $1.50 in the money, PayPal's flat, Apple's 50 cents out. That's fine. I'm still waiting for I've got a bunch of alerts that went off. So I'm still, there goes AMD. Man, okay, I'm going to have to give up on AMD at this point. It's already gone too far, too early. There's no way this trade would have already been managed because AMD, damn, look at it, 98? Oh, we're sitting in the mid-90s at this point.
Nothing else is tanking. The market's going up, actually.
Yeah, and that's fine. Come get me filled, because I have a bunch of orders that I want filled. I don't mind sitting out of the money for a bit to get those fills. So we are waiting for AMD. There goes Baba. $2 in the money on Baba. Baba taking off to the downside right off the open.
So I got to get ready.
So there goes Baba. Apple coming back in now. PayPal coming back in a little bit. And I'm going to go and find some more trades. I'm looking for trades in Facebook, Pfizer, and PayPal.
Yeah,
actually, I have PayPal already.
Yeah, looking at the big names there, yeah, I like that. I like that look for sure. Okay, so Neo right now is going against us, but is it even is it open yet? I'm not sure this is open yet, because that big tick did not come. Maybe it is. Do I see any New York prints coming through here? Yeah, now there it is. Yeah, so there's the big open. So there we go. Neo did rip against us there. I can't believe it went all the way to 40. I was right there, man, at 45. That went to 36 only. Neo now taking down 18. So all is well right now as Neo bye-bye to that downside here. I believe we cracked lower, and we'll take a 90. Oh, I missed that. I tried to get 99 short again there. Let's see if it does, build it back up. Oh, here it goes, man. Yeah, you're cranking to that downside right now. There goes Neo. Let's take another short. Oh, that's the problem, right? It is SSR right now. So Neo now down. Okay, Neo, this is a nice trade for me, man. We just got more short on that break. So let's wait to see. Is it going to work out for us? We do now have an oversized position in NIO, thinking that we were going to go to the downside, but now we're 93. Let's see if we keep going. 92, 93. We'll take a piece out there on 92. Neo with a big win right now as we talk Raptors, and we hit a swish on this one, but we're looking for a hell of a lot more than this, Arun.
Yeah, and there goes Baba continuing on, almost $3 in the money now. PayPal 28 cents in, Apple 10 cents out, relatively flat. So I've reset the alert on Facebook to 218. It had gone off at 219. I was thinking for shorts, but we're going to reset it down to 218. Yeah, I think 218 is a better fill, better price, better risk adjustment, risk location. So we're going to wait on that. Yeah, I got to move this AMD chart off the screen because that was the big one. That was the big one that I really did want, and then I just got a little carried away with the pricing on that. NVIDIA working 220s now. We talked about NVIDIA towards that potential bounce fill. And at this point, do I want it? No. Is it going to continue on? Am I going to chase after it? No. So we're going to remove that alert. That's no good. I'm not going to chase after that. We're just going to ride the 3 that we have. Futures turning back around south of 50. Remember, on the future side, this is what I can do. If I can't catch any stocks, I can definitely go to the futures because they're definitely going to be in an area where I can work with. We're looking at that 45s, right? We're looking at that potential 45. Get underneath, bounce back up, fail the bounce. Then I'll join you on the short side on the futures. I would have loved to fade this, but at the same time, we have to worry about these 45s. They can still give you somewhat of a bounce, a decent location for a bounce too. So we don't want to get caught in a buy wave on the future side of things. So we're going to wait for those 45s to get gone before we step in and take a shot at the short side. But there goes Apple now 40 cents in the money. PayPal still flat, 10 cents in, and about $2.50 on BABA. Nothing's cashed in. So we're still waiting. Everything's getting set up. We're waiting for more fills, see if we can't grab anything else that comes in.
And again, the one thing that I learned from you, man, is here comes the money. What a little Shane McMahon action. Because, I mean, we are going to the downside right now on NEO. And we just took some out, man. Low 80s right there off of a big-time move. Shout out to Dr. Strange. Thank you so much for the love on this play as well. We are huge. We're at a half of NEO now on reloads, on everything to the downside. So the NASDAQ absolutely cranked lower there. And we did take advantage of that. And yes, sir, sometimes it's one and done on NEO. I'm going to hold this one and see how far we can go to the downside. And then also, man, dead cat bounce. I don't think so. Let's see what happens here with SoFi. As this name, we got 74s. We only have two positions on, man. SoFi, short 74, NEO short as well. So now we keep on going to the downside on those ones. Unfortunately, on our sticky note, and I say unfortunate because you already talked about it, and I don't think you have NVIDIA short or AMD short. So that's the unfortunate part for us right now, is I wrote down like we wanted to get this name. It's just I was thinking we could get a bump up to 100. That's why I mentioned to Arun in the pre-market was like, yo, bro, what are we doing if it does go back up? We both agreed we wanted that short, but unfortunately right now, and here comes a coffee reload. You got the tea reload there from Arun, and I got this one. Thank you, Ms. V. And you could see Ms. V throwing down the appropriate cup right now. Bang, right there, because that's exactly what's happening. But right now, NEO, so here goes SoFi, first of all, down to 56. Where's my bid? 53 for SoFi. So let's see if that can touch down, break through 55, and we go lower on SoFi. But this is a good spot to get a little bit out here. SoFi, 774 we're short. Let's see, let's take 16 cents right now, and then go look over at NEO as the NASDAQ trying to bounce, but NEO's bouncing a lot more aggressively than this NASDAQ, so it might be time for a reload.
Yeah, I'm looking at, remember we talked about Facebook? Let's move it from 219 to 218. That stop, yeah, now it's trading at 217. So Facebook falling off very, very aggressively. I am starting to look shorts, but I'm not going to price that at 217. Absolutely not. I'm going to price it in the mid 218, see if you can actually get a fill on the bounce back up. I'm still trying to figure out where the risk on this is going to be because it'll tell me exactly where I'm going to price it based on how much risk I've got to put on the table. I'm thinking right now, if we were to get back above 221, it would be a problem. So that mid 218 makes sense to me on the short side. To take the fill on Facebook. So I'm looking at Facebook, Affirm. So Affirm shorts below 36, Facebook shorts below 218 and change. And then Dash. I mean, Dash is an alert that I got to worry about as well. But as the market bounces back up, which is fine, I got alert. I got fills that I want. So I would appreciate this bounce back up. Dash is, we traded Dash, and Dash is a little tricky this early in the morning,
bro. I'm not appreciating this bounce.
I mean, I'll take it. You want to bounce? Bounce, please. Neil.
Just very quickly, that Hoth, the story here being orphan drug status granted earlier, successfully completed API manufacturing feasibility, HOTH over on the NASDAQ, approaching the high of the day once again. So it's up 156%, slightly higher than that. Just got another spike here at the open. Continues to do outsized volume, HOTH, another one of these small cap runners, guys. And watch out for that high of the day at 170.
Okay, so me and Arun just like talking about it because I was like, oh man, this bounce ain't no good for me. But like Arun said, it's all about your style, right? We've already cashed out of NEO a decent amount, but we did reload that at 1805 right there. So our average price now is 98 off of that. But yeah, it was 1805. Wasn't it my last fill there? Yeah, so 1805. So we just reloaded it right now, so that's good. It's down to 18 flat while it's bouncing around. I don't mind the reload on the downside, but look at this NASDAQ. It just did take off. So like Arun said, I put another short. I did put my first short offer in now on AMD to see if we can retrace back to this like 98.50 area where the 50 period is. I would like to grab that short if we could into that name. SoFi obviously continues to work to the downside. We did take a piece off. Let's check out Twitter. Twitter again, and a shout out to Elizabeth Goodyear. Shout out to everybody. It's right at that 46. I'm going long on a 46 break. So All right, wow, there we go. It just breaks through 46. But again, we're not going to be the guy that like holds this until it tanks down again. And I'm not going to also be the guy that just waits, like I said, for that Elon Musk tweet. I want to be into this name, so I'm in it. It broke a technical level of 46 bucks. We talked about, not really that technical, but it was the bottom there on Friday. So hey, let's see if all that nonsense this morning sort of gets forgotten about a little bit here. If the NASDAQ does bump to the high side, I don't mind Twitter, but at the same time, 45.50 right here, where this 50 period is, I'm gone. So it's 45.40. So we're getting close to breaking back down below that. So we want to get out of the way of Twitter if that happens, because like we mentioned today, I don't want to be involved if it's in the middle. It broke, it didn't go, and it was not going to be a big position anyways, because we don't want to. Again, you don't want to be in names where you don't really have an idea and you're just sort of vulnerable to what's about to happen, A, on social media, or B, in this NASDAQ market, which we both think is heading southbound. So holding longs, not a great idea, but if we do break below this 45.40, I'm going to be out of this one. We'll take a 60-cent hit on Twitter, but at the same time, if we're risking 60 cents, let's see if we get to 46.60, which was sort of the afternoon high there on Twitter. So I think it's basing out okay for us. Let's see if that works. No averages in, no nothing. We have a 1-to-1 risk here, and then maybe a little bit better as there goes. Go ahead.
There goes the futures low that we're working with. That's the new low there. After that bounce back, damn it, why couldn't you bounce back a little bit more? Because my shorts would have been filled if we got the futures to bounce back a little bit more. Now that we've taken the 45, that opens the door up for, again, now it's got to set up though. You can't just, I am not going to jump right into it. I'm going to wait for this one now to bounce one more time. So set up underneath, get that bounce back to the 50s. I'm going to move the line. So this is going to be my new red line here. That's going to be my new stop. And we're just going to wait for a potential fill somewhere in the 50s if we can just get that setup going. But hey, we've got Apple on the short side. We've got PayPal on the short side. One thing I did do with BABA, I worked an exit in around 100 or so. So we've already cashed out some BABA around $2.50 in the money or so. So that's dealt with. BABA's locked in for profit regardless. Even if it comes all the way back, I'm walking away up on BABA. Now we got to position other things, right? Facebook is, I forgot where Facebook is actually. I actually moved away from Facebook.
Am I like living in like Bizarro world or something here? Like what the hell is Rivian doing, Neil? Like why did Rivian just pop up $1.50 there when the NASDAQ is taking down lows? So we're going to go new position alerted right now. I thought EV was a problem, but maybe we got 99 problems. But guess what? Rivian ain't one right now as it's coming out right now to the downside. So we just take that short on Rivian. We're like, thank you very much. 38.80 out right now, 38.50. Now you're going to the downside here on Rivian. Let's see how far this one can go. No idea why this name wants to go to the upside there. So we're going to wait at 38.20, man. Come on, print us again. We short that. We see what happens. We reloaded Neo short there at 21 or 2. Got some out right there at the 50 period at 07. So that last, we're not trading. We traded it really well off the open. I mean, we have literally bottom ticks here on Neo. I just can't see how this NASDAQ wants to work, and we don't want to go to the downside here on some of these names. So right now, Rivian, come on, baby. You can work this a little bit lower. This is why we're at 38.20. It's kind of that high there. We'll see if it can fill us at 38.20, but that's a surprise to me. And boom, Twitter right now again. There it goes right back up to the upside. So shout out to you, Elizabeth Goodyear, because there it is, man. Good thing. I hope you took the advice there that we said about holding on to that one for a little bit. There's Twitter. We'll take our first spot out. Hey, man, it was a 60 cents worth of a risk, and guess what? We'll take it out right there for that 60-cent winner right there. We gave that to you, Twitter. It did go against us a little bit, but we're not too worried. Take a piece out there, see if it goes back up to the upside. But Twitter right now exploding for us. Good trade for me on that one. SoFi, we did have 2 bottom ticks there, so that's so far so good. But we need really have Neo to come back down to the downside. It's relatively strong, and I want to check in on you on your BABA because honestly, like, why is Neo doing this right now? And I'm really surprised that Neo's holding up right now. So I'm debating, guys, getting a little lighter on this trade. We're crushing everything, man. I mean, Twitter just ripped up again, looking to fill us one more time. So without any further ado, it's Neil at the big desk.
Yeah, look, there's nothing really that big on Rivian, but just before the open, there was a story about a class action lawsuit for investors, on behalf of investors that purchased or otherwise acquired Rivian stock. in their initial public offering on the 10th of November 2021. Really, this is not a huge deal. You see these all the time, but I don't think that should be moving the stock that much. We'll keep our ear to the ground. Sometimes Rivian just squeezes. I feel like we could be seeing that.
Twitter barbecuing up some of those profits, man. Twitter goes right to $47, and we're like, thank you, we'll take it. So there it is, a nice little dollar win for you on Twitter, man. I mean, there it is. And if you're not, honestly, and I talk about this every single day, so if the sticky note is not part of your thing, fine, cool, that's fine. Send me what you are looking at, because right here on Twitter, let's take that 46 level. There's $1 for you right there. NEO, we talked about that. We're trying to short through 20. We've already destroyed NEO. NEO's my #1 name today, but that still needs work to do. AMD, and then there's the SoFi. So right now, man, if you're following the sticky note, let's give a big shout out to you guys, because hopefully it's working out for you as Twitter right to the upside. I said this, man, and then there goes Rivian. Hopefully we can get this Rivian bid as well down here at 20. Man, this is going to be a good day for us. Hopefully, we never know, right? We're only literally 13 minutes in, and we're already doing backflips, so maybe a little premature. Let's wait to see what happens. My biggest concern now, obviously, is this NEO, because it is just going to the upside. We lightened out right there. We lightened up right there. We're not going to hold this one, like I said, to our grave. Hardly that. So we're going to wait to see what NEO does. But it is taking off now. We got to get less aggressive on this one and possibly shave some of this. No idea why this is happening. The NASDAQ, though, is Pump City right now. So obviously something to do with it right now on NASDAQ.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what potential shorts. I can still, again, I'm working shorts, so I'm going to start on the short side. I went through all the fills that I never got. I had to cancel. So I had orders pending on Path, Roblox, and Marvell, all of which I canceled because they had already gone like $2 or so, $1.50 to $2. Path went like $1 from where I would have wanted it. Those trades are pretty much done, so I'm going to walk away from them. There's no point in catching them now. They've already run their course. So those orders I've canceled. I've still got an order on Netflix potentially. That's the only one left that never got filled this morning. Netflix into the mid 350s. I still think there's a chance that Netflix goes for the short, so I'm kind of working that because of the way that the daily looks. And let me go through that real quick for you guys. What I'm looking at is essentially this area, right? We were working into that 360 area. South of 360, we were stalling on the way down. It made sense that we would stall around 355-ish. And then we finally got that gap underneath, looking for that fill closer to that 355. Couldn't get it. It went all the way down to about 345, and now it's bouncing back up into 350. Do I still want the short? Yeah, I do, because I still like the area to work with. That's the only one that actually hasn't gone so much away from the price where I want it, where the trade is still valid. So I'm going to leave the order there, see if it can grab a fill. We cashed out BABA. Remember we cashed out BABA just around that 100? Yeah, it decided that it wanted to do a full U-turn, and now it's coming all the way back. Trail stop on the rest of it is going to be south or just over 102. So on the second portion of this, we're going to make about 40 cents. First one, we made $2.50. Hey, that's how trading works sometimes. You can't catch it all. So we're going to let that one go. PayPal's out of the money. And Apple is 65 cents in. But again, it's an index name. With the index bouncing back up, it makes perfect sense why it goes from $1 in to now 50 cents in. And we're just going to wait on this one. I'm still going to work some shorts. But at the same time, I want to work some longs. I'm starting to notice there are some longs setting up. TJX specifically north of 62.50 is available. Facebook is now at 220, but I don't know. I'm not ready to short Facebook just yet because of the strength that it's got. So we are looking for shorts, but not just yet on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm just like, honestly, right now, walking on water. Look at this Twitter call. 46 long, just highlighted right there. And there it is, man. A nice little move to the upside, like never against me. Never against me. Went against me 30 cents. We just take $1.30 right there on that play. And we did reload. And what's up to Dinesh? Look, I'm waiting for 39.50, honestly, on Rivian because I don't understand what's going on. So I'm going to wait until we get up here, 39.50 to reload. We were short 72. We got out at 50. So we only took 20 cents on that one. We are now against us 37 cents. So make me not very happy on that play. But we'll wait for that one. SoFi retraced all the way back up. And actually, where was my reload on that one? 88s we were waiting for here on SoFi to get into this area. I'm going to cancel that and maybe just take another short rate now into SoFi. As we came up to 82 there, we are retracing back down on this name. So SoFi continues to work to the upside. But, you know, we're still in the money on this name. But it did come back up. We should have took that reload there at 80. But SoFi has broken broken back above. So these names, look, I didn't think the NASDAQ even would bounce like this. So this is either a great opportunity to get short again, as Arun and I have sort of highlighted on some of these plays, or maybe we're just wrong today and the market wants to head to the upside. We talked about Miss V being in green, so I don't know, but let's wait to see if Neil has another story for us. Hopefully a bearish one.
Well, a bullish one for Bilibili and some Chinese gaming firms here. Bilibili breaking high of the day, up 11% now. Triple top just got taken out as gaming firms all rising as regulators grant first publishing license since July. So Bilibili up, Do You up as well. So NetEase is also making some moves, but Bilibili just taking out that high.
All right. Yeah, so like honestly, this Neo trade there, I don't like. Yeah, this is horrible news for some of the Chinese names starting to go back up to the upside. So yeah, maybe shorting this Neo is not going to be the right trade today. So let's see. We're going to take off some pressure here through 19. Normally I wouldn't do that. I want to hold till 20, but again, if it continues to go to the upside, I'd rather put on a bigger position north of 19. So probably let this thing float a little bit through 19, but it looks like it's going to hit it right now. So I'm just getting a stop order ready because this looks like it wants to take down 19 right now. And yeah, all the news seems to be coming out to the good side right now for some of those Chinese names, which reminds me, I got to go over and look at Tesla. That's probably ripping high now as well, especially if Neo's starting to go and Rivian's starting to go. Yeah, Tesla's probably the name to look at right here.
All right, I'm going to see if I can grab a long. The only one one of the few that actually has been setting up long has been TJX. I mentioned that, right? TJX north of 6250. That's one I do want to take long. Even in a down read with the futures, if I were to say even go short on the futures, I still want to be long TJX. Just the way it's setting up. If you look at the daily, actually, here, let's get that. Multi-day move. Stalling out around 62.50, 62 even to 62.50. We get that break. We have an upside at least to 64 and change. So if I can get it priced in that 50 area, 50 to 60 area, makes sense. Would I pay up to 63 evens where it's priced now? No, I wouldn't pay 63.20 for the long. But if we can get into the 62.50s, I'd go for the long. We're going to wait on that one. Put a bid down, see if we can't get a fill. It's running strong because it opened at like 61.40 something, 42. It opened at 61.42. And then decided that I wanted to go straight up with the market coming back a little bit. So we are going to wait for a bid and see if we can catch it on the way back down. We're still waiting on Facebook for potential shorts, and we're going to wait for a TJX fill on the long side.
Okay, so there it is, man. New position alert. What's up to Dinesh? He was talking to me. Am I reloading Rivian? So yes, we are. We will roll the dice with this Rivian short now at 50. And again, like I'm kind of ready to take this one and see what happens because I have an out at 41. So this is going to be a fun little ride here on Rivian, especially if we continue to go to the upside. This is really, really surprising me. Let me go over to AMD because, look, I don't want to be AMD still working to the weak side. So I was going to say, I don't want to be the one just holding the bag short, but it looks like that will be the case. Normally I'm a bull and you'd be like, wow, this is amazing for me because we would have bought some of these dips. But right now, honestly, not working out, buying any of these dips or selling any of these rips for me as it just continue to go to the upside. Twitter's working, man. We're $1.30 in that. SoFi we're flat on. Rivian we're down 40 cents right now, which is fine. And then Neo. But look at AMD here. It just retraced to 98, which was that 50 period. I think if you're going to short anything, AMD probably is the right name. So I'm going to be waiting still upside on it. Oh, I got to sort my order log by alphabetical here. I was waiting at 98.50, so it actually came to 98.48 right there. So that sucks that we didn't get that fill. And that would now be $1 in the money, and I could be breathing a little easier. But right now, we're still going to wait for that fill, 98.50 for AMD. I'm going to bump it down a little bit lower. That really sucks, man. I just noticed that right now when everything was going against me. I should have had that one back into the short side. But here it comes back in for Neo. I will take a piece out in the 40s right here where I probably should have decided to refresh this and have a different look. So we're going to wait to 40 here. There's a lot of bid size right here, like, 258 right there. And I saw a couple more big bids coming through. Yeah, you just saw 266 on the downside. We have, this is called market depth. So you can see here at 65, there's a bid. And it's just a matter of like, why are there more bids than asks right here on Neo? So I'm probably caught the wrong way on this. So this could be another spot where we just sort of ease back and let the longs work until we figure out, this market's direction. The ES is very choppy, and maybe, Arun, I'll ask you, I know you tell people, and I apologize if you already did, but are you in any futures positions right now?
Not yet, no. So usually the futures positions I get into, it won't show up, but I'm still working on the short side. Like, I committed to the short. I'm the reader. I'm going to work with short. Bounces are used to get me fills on the short side. For now, until I'm proven wrong, and this market decides to go up another 15 to 20 points and getting me out of my short read mentality, I'm going to stick with it regardless of the bounces that we get. I'm still working potential shorts. Remember, I said that, hey, if we were to then break that 45, done, and then bounce back up into the 50s, okay, and fail, happening kind of now. We're kind of catching a bid still, but if we were to fail, then I'd jump on the short side. And that's exactly what I'm looking to do right now. I'm looking to go short, but not right now because there is still some buy strength left on the table. So I want to make sure that's out of the way before I go for the short. As you can see, they're trying to get through 50. Then now we're at 51. We were just at 48, bouncing all over the place. There's decent action on both sides. I do want to be on the short side, but at the same time, I'm not committing to it if I can't get the read right the first time around. So we're going to wait for this to actually fail out before I go for the short because there's still a chance that that 45 break was just a run on stops and we actually end up snapping back up and going right through, back through that 65 area. So we're going to wait a little bit longer before we commit to the short, but I am going to be potentially on the short side of these futures if we can get going back to the downside below 50 once more.
That sucks, man. I thought I got those 997 short there on Tesla, but I did not. So we're going to wait for that right now. 997, just ahead of that one. I thought I got those. I was already setting up my orders to get out on the downside here. I thought we had a $4 winner, but we never got. That's funny. I hit offer, enter, and I thought it went up against me there. So I don't know. Maybe let me just refresh. I really feel like I should have this position. I didn't want to market it in because, again, like, you know, right now we have $1 spread on Twitter's or on Tesla, so I didn't want to market that in. No, I don't have it. Okay, so all right. Well, oh man, we'll wait for that because I really did think we had that. I was already putting my bids for 990 in right here, so we don't have it. But we're gonna watch Tesla. We talked about it bouncing off of 1,000 there, so. Oh, no, Arun, darn it, man. That was a $7 win there for me on Tesla that I thought I had. I literally just canceled my bid thinking we had it, but I think we'll get it again. So let's just wait. So as you can see there, my out's going to be on a break slightly above 1,000. We're not going to get out exactly at 1,000, but like 1,002, 1,003, something like that. So we are ready to, like I was putting a bid out to get, I probably would be out by now, to get that $6, $7 because that's how much we were risking. Oh, darn it. Not damn it, we don't say that. Well, I just did. But darn, that's upsetting because we did have that trade on the mend there. So darn. All right, that's that. Rivian probably pulling back in, but again, we're waiting for that move. And NEO is coming back in a little bit. I'm going to just cancel it. I did have a bid here. Did I just get filled? No, I didn't. At 64. So let me just cancel that as it's coming right back in right now, NEO. I was going to take off some pressure there. I'm not putting the 19 on because I really thought like 19 is going to break. You know what? Let me just put a bid. I'm going to put a bid right here at 66. Like, why did it just stop again there? Let's see if we can get another piece out. That last reload is going to put me in trouble. This probably puts me negative even if I just take out a little bit here on NEO as it's right up to the upside. This is the only problem stock that we've had all day. SoFi now comes right back in. We missed that reload on there. And then AMD, I'm still waiting for that. That's not going to give me that 98 anymore. But other than that, man, damn, that Tesla was definitely a big missed opportunity. And then just to talk about Shopify one more time, I said that I wanted to stay away from this. And this is why. The spread is like $2 when it opens up. So this is not like I don't want to trade it. It's just, it's straight to the upside here. As a shareholder, I'm happy about the split news. But again, I don't like the business, to be honest with you. So we'll hold on to this a little bit. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a bump up here in Shopify. We may short this if we get into the 630 area. But then again, we'd have a lot more problems than that if this gets into 630 because we're short basically everything else here. We do have a long in Twitter that's worked for us. That went $2 in the money for us. So that was a good trade. And I'm going to hold on to the rest of that one. But right now, the only problems I have is really just this NEO as it now looking like, and again, there we go. I was going to say takes 19. We're going to get out of some. So here it goes. Takes 19. Didn't go up enough, but just soon through this 05, we'll get out some more there on NEO. So it looks like my instinct on that was right to get some out in the 60s there. So hey, if you know, willing, we'll be able to get out at 1860 again. I don't think so though. NEO definitely wrong on this one. Nothing but upside here for NIO and some of the Chinese names. And I know Baba sort of did you dirty as well there, getting out low and then getting out high. It looks like we can't hold any offers here.
I mean, hey, Baba can do what it wants. I cashed out on Baba at the right location. So if Baba wants to do a U-turn, fine. I really don't care because I made my money on Baba. We were short in the 102.50 area. We cashed out some in the 100s, and we got out the rest on a trail stop just north of 102. Worst case, locking in about 40 cents. So, hey, Baba wants to do a full U-turn. That actually sets up a decent trade if you want to look at the flip side of this going in towards that 110 area. So I'm going to keep an eye on Baba because there could be another re-entry now if we get above 105 on the short side. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's trading at 103.30 with a decent strength rally to the upside, with the market doing a lot of back and forth. Not a whole lot of direction here. It's still trying to figure out whether we have enough strength to actually bounce back above that high that we put in right off the open, which was like around 59.50. If we have enough strength to do that, you've got to factor in the possibility that stops got taken out south of 45, and now we're just going to run a flip and just take off to the upside. That's a real possibility because that 45 has been so obvious that you know a ton of stops are going to go off south of it, right? So I'm just keeping an eye out how we trade around this. If we end up catching a little bit more offers and we get back underneath that 45, I think I'll step in on the short side at that point. In terms of futures positions, that's all I've got. In terms of stocks, Apple, as you can see, is $1.40 in the money, and Apple's been weak. Apple's, oh, you guys can't see it with the bottom third there, but Apple, we are pricing at 168, just underneath, a shade underneath at 168.50, and now that's $1.45 in the money, and there's nothing stopping this. I think we have decent strength for another 80, 90 cents on this. My first target on Apple is going to be around that 166 mark. So that's why I went for Apple over Microsoft. I'm going to put that target. I've already got the bid down there waiting and see if I can get about $2.50, just short of $2.50 on the first target as we manage the rest of it. PayPal not cooperating at all. PayPal is the one that's actually been a problem. Even in the pre-market, it rallied up a little bit. Then we moved down. We were short at 109, just a shade underneath 109.50. And then we go up, we go down about $1 in the money, then we flip back around, and now we're about $1.20 out. But again, PayPal, I like the daily, I like the read. If we need to set it up and wait for the setup because it's already set up to go, if this is the play that I'm working with, which is that red line, that first red line here, which is 110. There's nothing stopping this from going lower. So let's see how much they've got as they bounce back up into these 110 halves. 111 and change. So as long as the resistance up there that I'm expecting is there, it's going to hold. That'll be fine. Futures, taking another look at that 45s. We'll wait for that one as well. Potential fades, I'm still looking at Facebook off that
I just took
level.
a Facebook trade.
Oh, you got a Facebook?
Yeah.
Where is it now?
Same thing. Yeah, so I did exactly. That's funny that you said that because I just went right over to Facebook and we just took a 65-cent winner on that name. I wish we could have talked about that, but Arun was doing it. So right there, good call on that. We did the same thing. I faded that 220.50 right there and a nice little win to the downside on Facebook. And again, I'm looking at the NASDAQ fading here. And honestly, like, I feel like my calls is right. It's just Rivian and Neo today on the EV side of things, man. EV got real spicy. Like, look at this. I just entered this Facebook trade. It's $1 in the money. So yeah, we're making back some of that cash, but Rivian not helping the equation out at all, and neither is NIO. So hey, man, maybe this is not the flush sort of that we thought was coming through today. As now Facebook's getting back up to the upside again. So yeah, this market today very, very volatile and very, very spicy, including into Twitter now, Tesla to that upside, looking at 1,000 right here. So wow, okay, EV space is definitely making some moves off the bottom here. We have Tesla, it's up against 1,000, so that's really going to be the level that we're most concerned with. Tesla right now looking at $1,000. We're short right now $997 as discussed, and look where it went down to, right to that $990 level. That's the trade that we were looking for. Let's see if we can put this on, but I don't know. It looks like it's going to take that out as the NASDAQ trying to rally against us right here. So without any further ado, let's go over to the big screen and see what exactly, I thought it was happening now, but maybe it's not, happening now over there with Neil.
What is happening is we are looking at that market trying to bounce a little bit here. The NASDAQ, that 1.25% to the downside. The ES under 1% and trying to bounce a little bit here. Now, NIO was one of the bigger stories here. We're raising prices and then shutting down production. They have recovered a ton. Was down 10%. Now cutting that almost in half as we get this bounce back to the upside. Nvidia got the downgrade from Baird. Huge price target cut on some supply concerns, demand concerns. They are holding in the 4% downside range. And you mentioned Tesla there. We threw them on the board because that 1,000 mark. Chinese auto sales slumped. First time they actually declined in the last 3 months, down 11%. Tesla was under pressure. It's now screaming at that $1,000 mark, which it had gap below. I'm going to be all over watching that one. Big level in there for Tesla.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this market's quite all over the place.
Yeah, we're all over that Tesla, but it is breaking. It's going to break. I mean, it just looked at 1,000 there and then came right back in. So we're going to watch out for Tesla trying to break above that 1,000 and hold it. So we need to get a little bit higher than that. But again, there'll be a $5 loss for me if we get through 1,002. So those are my levels. So I talked a lot, Arun, so let's go over and see what you're up to.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything different. I'm just waiting on the futures here, maybe 45 breaking. We're kind of working back and forth with these 45s. I need a little bit more clarity for me to go for the shorts here. Given the amount of action we're getting here, remember 45 was a key level, right? So the fact that we're getting a ton of volume around that 45 area becomes a problem, especially if you're looking for a breakout short, because then that brings on the possibility that the level's just kind of flexing a little bit and that there's a decent amount of buying down here, which has been proven in the last few times. But now, given that we broke a little bit, you're thinking short. But now if the buyers are willing to step down a little bit lower, that short's not going to be good, especially at these prices right now. So I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to pull back from going for these future shorts, and we're just going to let it go and see what it wants to do. If it wants to break, take out 44.35, which is roughly the low that we put in this morning. 38 is the low that we put in this morning. If you want to break underneath and then maybe bounce later on in the day, that's fine. But when I set up a read, I'm not setting up a read for the next hour or so. I'm setting up a read for how I want to play the rest of the day. So in my case, I know what I want to do around certain prices. I want to look for shorts. I'm factoring in the possibility that, hey, you know what, we could get some buying that could go for a long. But at the same time, I'm going to wait this one out. I know what I want to do in terms of pricing, and I want to see how I want to price this. Apple, $1.46 in the money. PayPal's out. We're still possibility of CAT doing a 218 fail break to the upside. Facebook still shorts on the table, even though it just bounced off that 219. And then Netflix. Remember, Netflix was one that never got filled this morning. And I'm still, again, even though we didn't get filled, that was the only one that was actually still somewhat valid from being on the short side. So I am going to go ahead and throw the order out on Netflix now to get a fill, see if you can work a short in the mid 350s against that 360. So a little bit higher risk than what I would typically do. But again, I want these prices. I want these shorts on Netflix.
This is honestly, one of the most frustrating days I've had almost all year because we're short and like you just mentioned, I just have the wrong names, like Apple, downside, and still going down, So I like the short. We've talked about that. But now here I am, short Tesla, and the market's going down and it's going up. So, I mean, again, I like it. I'm happy. I mean, I like all these trades. But, the net is telling me otherwise right now, and I shouldn't like them, right? So Tesla short now, 997. Obviously, it's just took out 1,000, but it's dancing. I told you my 1,002 mark. That's been good, but it's not going to hold as this continues to get to the upside there. We are reloaded, and to talk about being reloaded right now, sorry, diamond hands the wrong way. Hit that the wrong way. But we are... in a lot of these names, and we're really reloaded pretty seriously, but we did empty some of our clip there as we did get some more shares in Rivian as, look, man, I can't hold this too much past $41. We've seen Rivian make these moves before, and it can just get elevated to the upside. So Rivian's been so beat down that, yeah, there is going to be some relief today in this name. But look at this, man. Nice little upside move on Rivian. It takes down 41, guys. We're going to have to clap that out. So we did take some pressure off there at 40.20 off of a 40.50 reload. But there it goes. Nothing but love to the upside. There goes Tesla. Breaks that 1,002. And I guess it just wants to head to the north side now. I do have a little bit too many shares there on that break, so we don't mean to be long. But hey, man, looks like the long isn't wrong as that's starting to go upside right now on Tesla. But yeah, Rivian breaking higher here, testing that 41. We're not going to be able to hold that too much longer. But yeah, it's just funny. Like our Twitter trade, which I'm light on now because we got out, is up $2 in the money. right here on the sticky note. And of course, I just dig into Rivian that I wasn't even thinking about, and that's starting to go to the upside as well. So a couple bad decisions here. We did take some nice ins and outs here on Facebook, and that's starting to go. That was just $1 and change in the money. If the NASDAQ fails, at least we got Facebook on. But right now, Twitter, Tesla didn't work for us. Twitter is, Facebook is, and those EV names not short today. You know, obviously that's on me, as they all are. I just was not expecting that little bump up.
Yeah, I'm just moving the stop order on Apple. Given that's $1.30 in the money and we're getting a somewhat of another rejection off these 45s on the futures, I'm going to protect against the possibility that Apple joins the rest of the index and decides to take off to the upside. So we're going to lock in something on Apple. We're, like I said, $1.30 in the money. We're going to lock in about 20 to 30 cents of that on a trail stop. It makes sense given how far we've moved in. So it's not like I'm just trying to lock in for the sake of locking in because I'm worried about something. I'm just actually managing this one out. I'm putting the stop just north of 168 and change. So if we can't, see if we can't actually lock in something. I think I heard something off the monitor there. We're going to go to Valeria.
Hey guys, I hope you're all in some profitable trades and ask you to like this video. We have more than 6,000 people watching and we would really appreciate if you support the community. Back to you guys.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not even really paying attention to anything else here other than this shit show this stock market here. Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny. Like, this is why it's so frustrating to me, because I look at this, man, and look what's happening. Barcode, barcode, barcode. Like, none of these positions should be blowing up that hard against me. But again, we're just in the wrong space at the wrong time here, as we just reloaded that last Rivian right there at the top, and there's not much else I can do right now. This is just going to continue to go upside. This is a 1 minute chart. We can look at a 20-minute, but I'm just thinking, like, well, I got to just ease some of this up if we take down this like 41.50, because if we test 42, the upside from that point is 46, 47, and then I'm just going to lose a lot more than my dedicated amount that we talked about that we're trying to lose per trade. So we're going to have to watch out, man. 41.50. I believe I have that order in now to cancel out there. The Tesla hit wasn't that bad. It was short 90s, 97s, out 102s there. It's now at 06, so you can see Tesla is a big boomer today. The EV space is just rocking. So anybody that went short in this space or long in this space was absolutely killing it today. So congratulations to all of you. Just a bad read for me on that. You know, we talked about supply chain issues in the pre-market, everything just making moves, and today making moves the wrong way right there. So nice trading for anybody that had Tesla there long, NIO long off some of those bottoms. Hey man, that's great, and that's what we're here to do, is trade. And today, two of those positions against me pretty good right now. NIO to the upside against me, obviously, we talked about that. And Rivian, at some point we got to get out. This is just a wild day here for EV. It's a big day for that space. I'm long the space. Ford as well, man, working. Wow, this is the craziest part. Like, if I had just sort of flipped over on some of these ideas, 15, like, remember we talked about 15 being that key level? We shorted it on Friday, and we actually did pretty good on Friday on the short here, as you can see. Oh, that wasn't there. It was in here on the 15 break down to 1480, a nice move up to 1545. I would say right now this is getting a little heavy as well, but I mean, my read today is not great. So let's wait to see what happens on Ford, but up 4%. Congratulations. Another big name for me, Ford, moving in the long-term account, but not moving here. All right, enough of that talk. As finally, and this is what I'm honestly about to throw something. And where's Pratt? He's over there, so got to get that slipper going. And it had nothing to do with him, of course. But I'm just frustrated because the NASDAQ names, and good on you, Arun, for holding some of those ones, because Apple, definitely a great call on that move to the downside. And now we're $1, hopefully, in the money on Facebook. But, like, man, Rivian, man, NIO, these are all coming back in, but, yeah, not enough for me to capitalize on.
Yeah, I just picked up update Netflix short. Remember, we were potentially looking for shorts on Netflix. Back and forth on it in the mid 350 area. Well, I decided to pick up some shorts here at 350, 355. You'll see it if I flip over to our system charts. You'll see me right there short. It's 70 cents in the money, but at the same time, it's Netflix, right? It's got a 50-cent spread. 70 cents doesn't really mean a whole lot, so we're just going to leave it alone, let it trade. The trade on this one is to get it back south of 350 towards Can you guys see that? Yeah, so we're short here. We're trying to get it south of here, which is 350. Once it gets back underneath it, I'll start managing it. But for the time being, we're going to leave it be. It just got started. The trade is just getting going on Netflix, and it's doing what I need to do in the area that I need to do it. So, hey, we'll leave it be, and that's going to work itself. Futures, back and forth with those 45. So it makes sense that we are just going to bounce from 45 back into the mid to low 350s and then take another look south of 50. It's all over the place. We're not going to get caught up in that mess on the futures just yet, so let it go and just wait it out. The other one that I want to keep an eye on, CAT, still potentially on the long side. It could still, I thought failed 218 break could be a short, but now I'm thinking that 218 could be a long. So we're a little back and forth on CAT around that 218 price, so watch it a little bit longer, decide which direction, because it could either be a good breakout trade from that 217 half, or it could be a failed break, which you also have to be watching out for, right? So we're going to wait for those as you go back to Neil.
Got another one breaking out here. Trinity Biotech announced their Q4 and fiscal year 2021 results. They did have a loss of revenue. Was also a bit of a miss, but you're actually seeing us break 39% to the upside, and it just took out this lower high opening range at $1.35. Just highlight to 140 on the daily chart, guys. Big mover, this TRIB on some increased volume at the open.
Oh, we just hope that Sean's mic is not live when Neil's talking.
Yeah, don't worry about my mic. And if it is, Fahad, me and you got talk about this afterwards. Okay, so what I was basically saying was cursing under my breath because we don't do that. I'm a family man, of course. Okay, so we just made back, honestly, like a lot of money because the market finally started to come back down. We reloaded Rivian. I couldn't be happier with sort of the move back down in now for some of these plays. So on that note, man, sometimes you lick your wounds. And honestly, I just took another piece out for Rivian. It's not going to be a winner. I still think like we can hold this to get back in. And that's why I said to Arun, like, is your Netflix working? Because like some of these names have to start to come in a little bit for me. And I feel like that's going to help with the broader market, like Apple coming in, Netflix coming in, things like that starting to come in. So, with that being said, and look, Neo's been bad, but it hasn't been that bad because honestly, in the open, we stuck with our sticky note. We liked that short there through the open. That really paid off for us, but it's that last average right there at 1863 that I was really getting super nervous on. I actually had an offer at 1945 that I didn't cancel. That didn't fail. It only got as high as 30, and then I was really going to just like say that's enough is enough. But we've gotten out now twice at 19 low. So, again, I don't want to say that this market's coming back in. I don't think it is, but we are now starting to take out some of these positions because part of trading is being stubborn, and that's not a good quality. Like, you have to sit there, be focused, understand your stocks, understand how they can move, and definitely have your outs. And that's what I've been talking about here, is making sure that you have outs. Like, there's Rivian. Look at that out there at 40.60, and then the rip back up, and now a stacked bid. Like, I mean, we're wrong on this name, but getting out, all for losers. We still are short Rivian at $1 out of the money. It's not like this is the end of the world, but for me, I don't like that. We do have an oversized position because of the average in, and we've already taken hits on Rivian. So I need this to come back in. If we could take down that 41, that would be real nice. But again, my target for Rivian, 41.50. If that breaks, I'm not going to say I have an order to get out there, but that's going to have to be a spot that all of us, and I think just generally speaking, that 42 is staring us in the face there. So worst case scenario, maybe we get some out, and then if we have to go short, if it does break through 43, 44, something like that, we have to go shorter than use like this 45 as our top, then maybe that's what we have to do. But hey, just as I said, the market's coming back in and working out for us. Twitter's a good one for us. Facebook just goes right back up. We were almost that full dollar in the money. I don't know, man. This market's still dancing. Like, the NASDAQ's still really doing nothing. So let's try to be as patient as we can. But we do have our upside targets in case this does go sour.
Okay, so I have thrown a bid. As you can see, I actually got the fill too. Caterpillar, we are now long just over 218. I like the idea of the long off the daily. It was a back and forth, but I think I see enough, just enough to go for the long on Caterpillar. Let me pull up the daily for you guys so I can show you guys what I'm looking at, what I'm reading. It's this little spin around that little spin around from like 216, 215, and now we're above that 217.5 into that 218.
Like
Thought
up.
about the possibility of a failed move, but now we got going. Fine, I'm long. It's 11 cents in the money, so for now it's in the money. We're going to let it go towards that 220. The other one I really want to focus on the long, it's a little extended, but it can still set up well, is Boeing. Boeing, nice little bounce off that. Remember, we were looking at that 372 as the marker for potential support. If we can get that bounce, if it gets above 180, it could be a long on Boeing too. But the problem with Boeing, it started the day at 173 and it's at 179, so it's already run $6 like that, straight up. So it's gonna be a problem if they take 180 right now, because I'm not gonna go short or long on something that looks like this after a run-up of $6 from the support level. So we're gonna wait on Boeing, but Boeing 180, I'm gonna put the alert out. I actually don't have Boeing alert set up, but I'm gonna put the alert out on Boeing and see if we can actually get the long above 180, but it needs to slow down a little bit first. Just chill out a little bit, man. Just take a break. Take a break, and then maybe you can keep flying to the upside. But for the time being, we've got Netflix up almost $2. But again, Netflix is Netflix, $2. What does that mean? Doesn't mean a whole lot on Netflix. It's like being up $1 on Tesla, right? We've got Apple.
I see what you did there, Arun.
What do you mean?
You know, I lost on Tesla, and I see.
Oh, you were trading Tesla. That's why I read it up. So the other one is we've got Apple, $1.70 in the money. PayPal, $1 out. That one's been a problem, but it was $1.50 out. Now it's $1 out, so that's fine. Yeah. And then Caterpillar is falling off a little bit now after the market decided that it wants to go back to the downside, south of 45, as more alerts go off.
Yes, sir. Okay, there it is. So there's a $1.30 win on Facebook as it's Tank City right now. And I like, if I didn't need this keyboard, it may possibly be smashed by now, but you know, I'm fine. You know, in my old age, I'm getting more calm and everything like that. And of course, I've never smashed a keyboard, nor will I ever do that. But I'm just frustrated because it's the wrong names. And I'm so glad that Arun over here is helping you guys, taking the right sectors. Like that NASDAQ, if you just sort of played the main names in the NASDAQ, you'd be fine now because we're cranking lower, lower, lower. And I mean, look, I've made, like, you know, everything's working for me now, but if you were shorting with me earlier on, not great. But this Facebook reload, I mean, bang, bang, right there. Now $1.30 in the money on Facebook. So, you know, like, I'm sad here about Rivian. I'm down 58 cents on Rivian, but in the money, $1.50 on Facebook. So, you know, it comes and goes. It goes in ebbs and flows, but I'm just upset because the names that I dug into just weren't the ones. And shout out to anyone named Doug out there, but I don't, you know, it's just like, that sucked. So we're going to have to wait on it. Rivian to the downside. Hopefully that continues to work. My Twitter, I'm just going to hold that. You already talked about that. That was already a great trade for me. But coming back in now, NEO. And again, I'm not afraid to admit that this was completely wrong for me. And a part of being, like I said, being a trader is not being stubborn. And on the flip side of that is being humble, right? And look, I'm going to take a hit on this. We talk about trying to say, oh, you know, we're red every day, or red every day. Green every day last week. Perfect days. But today, man, we're going to start off right now, temporarily, hopefully, on the red side of the trade. And we're just going to say, this is not working. If the 50 period breaks, then great. But I do have a couple more bids, actually one more bid to get out here at 90. So hopefully that can happen. And as I double check, I don't have that bid because we just got filled there. And I want to get another fill. So we're going to put another bid at 1892 here, try to take that fill, and then just sort of like, all right, if we can regroup, look at the names that are actually going down, and then start to pick and choose with that. But I think today was a good day for many, many reasons, and I think we've highlighted them throughout. So, yeah, like as if Palantir's green today, and like I'm sitting here in all these other shorts and not long that name. Okay, over there at the big screen, Neil, looks like it's a small cap recap, a name that we haven't looked at yet, Arun and I, but Neil's going to do that for you right now.
This Viru going to lead things off here with VRU. They did have a positive COVID result for their COVID trial and breaking out in a big way. I was short this one in the pre-market at around this $6 level in front of 620. It was working down into 580, 560, but then it took out that 20. It took out the high of the day just now, so we are 1 for 3 on this, and it is still screaming, approaching a $7 level, big level on the daily chart, approaching, getting pretty parabolic there. It has about a 60 million share float, so it is decent. not gigantic. IVDA is a bit of a different story. This one had tried to break a couple of times, was sitting in multiple shorts, but it couldn't take out its high of the day. And when it put in that wick off top, it's now starting to work into the downside. If it gets to 270 and cannot break it, it has a chance for a later day run. But this sort of falling off, if it takes 270, it might end up looking like Hoth here, which is also gapped up and then recently broken support. If this can't get above that 140 mark, this could be one of those short for the rest of the day. But the real story is Viru on an absolute tear on the way to $7.
Talk about a stock that's on a tear. I'm glad it started this move after I got in. Caterpillar taking off now, approaching that 218.80 high, putting in new highs actually. We got long not too long ago at 218.05, and here it is already 55 cents in the money. With the offer, it's actually sitting at 75 right now. So working to the upside. We're still waiting for potential shorts on, even with Caterpillar running to the upside. And man, again, you got to play relative strength and weakness, right? So we went with Apple. We've got Netflix. We've got PayPal all short. We've got Caterpillar long. And I'm looking for potential shorts on Facebook and Dash. Facebook is one of those names we were looking early as well. And then it caught strength and we let it go a little bit. It's starting to show some weakness. Maybe 219 shorts on Facebook is going to be on the table. And then Dash again, south of 103 potentially on the short side as well.
Some guy, Doug here. What's up, Doug? Said he heard his name, so you just heard it a couple times right there. Yeah, okay, so great. Thanks, Dr. Strange. Thanks, everybody out there. And it's true, like, not many people would sit here. Do I have any more Facebook bids? I don't want to. I want to go keep holding this one. We just got out of Facebook as it took 219 again, so I just put a small bid there. We're not out of Facebook, sorry. We got another piece out of Facebook because if this market's going to fall, then honestly, like, I need other names to fall down. I'm comfortable holding Facebook, but if this market rips, then I don't need this great short to come out of my blotter up here at 221, which is where the stop is on Facebook. So yeah, and again, just to that Dr. Strange note there, thank you again. But yeah, it is tough. As you guys know, to sit here and trade publicly like this in front of everybody, and especially when you do take the hits. And there it is right there. We'll go bang to the upside here for Rivian. Like, yeah, good call, anybody holding Rivian shares today. But we talked about getting some out. And then the last little reload there at 40.80, we did not get any out. And there it goes, taking out the top right now. So we get out of half of that trade. So definitely a bad trade today for me on Rivian. But you know, I like the short, and like did anybody see this move coming? And maybe you did. And if you did, man, send me the reason why, because I still don't know why Rivian is up 8% today. But there it is right there, $42 coming through. I guess it just wants to continue its march higher and higher and higher, which is fine. It does suck because we are short that name. And then NIO, we did get some out there again. So it's just all these EV names really just blowing up. But there's NIO again, getting out there before it takes out higher highs. I'm actually going to cancel my NIO trade at 19.50, and then I'm just going to trust a higher read here, and that's going to be 20 right into here. If we take 20, I definitely don't think we take 20.50. NIO, though, trying to go back green today. We talked about that. Miss V's green not working, but it's working for EV space. So that's kind of the good thing. I've definitely just short the wrong names today, but I feel like the read's been good on the market, and I'm glad that Arun over there has. I'm going to assume Netflix continuing to go down. Yep. I'm going to assume Apple's continuing to go down as well. Yeah, just wrong space for me today, but good read. So I'm just going to continue to be positive on what I'm looking at and just try to figure out, like, okay, I got to stick with the names that I'm more confident in. Like Rivian's not even on the sticky note. On that note, SoFi, we've averaged into this short. Another name that's on the sticky note that's been working. So here's SoFi in early and then out down here for 20 cents, 25. The reload at 790, out there at 780. So far so good on SoFi. It's the other ones that I've got to really regroup on. Yeah, I just picked up some Facebook. Remember I mentioned potentially shorting Facebook? We just got into that one at 219.05. That's already 60 cents in the money. So as the futures takes off, looking at new lows now, this opens the door. Again, I'm not going to take the short here, but this opens the door for us to get well past this 45 area, and then now it can actually work fades as we bounce back. If we're lucky enough that we get a bounce back into the mid 40s, then the shorts are now back on the table. So we're going to ride Netflix at $2.30 in the money, Apple $1.90 in the money, Facebook
68 cents in the money. PayPal coming back in from $1 out, now 67 cents out. And then CAT, which was a stellar runner, has decided that it wanted to do a U-turn, now 18 cents out. But I like CAT's strength. So if CAT's going to be relatively strong for this kind of a market, then we just need this market to kind of level off a little bit before CAT can get back going to the upside. So we're going to let it go, and we're going to hold on to everything we've got. And Dash is still on the table. I don't like the way it's moving just yet to go for the short, but still on the table for a potential short.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can go boom for a couple trades here because, this is $2 in the money, man. This Facebook trade has been a great one. Great levels there. I remember putting that on and was like, you know what? This is a name that I definitely like here to that short side. We're taking profit, but now we've broken through VWAP there. We didn't really break it until just now. So that's a good break spot there. So now we can hold this and see if we can retest some of these bottoms as we are now below the volume weighted average price. So that should apply a little bit more pressure to Facebook. So I do like this one as a hold to the downside. I cannot believe that I'm net short huge today and it's been my worst day of the month. So that's the craziest part about all this. And I can't wrap my head around it. But and I'm just going to continue to look at names that I pretty confident in here. And I'm just going to stick with what I do best. SoFi, downside, great reload there on the market going up. Believe in your stock, man. And now we're 14 cents in the money on, again, an upsized position on SoFi because this was a name that was on the sticky note. We liked it. And I hate SoFi right now. I'm a shareholder. So talk about talking the opposite way. There's some channels out there, I bought this, therefore it's going up. I mean, I bought SoFi, therefore I write on sticky note, go short. How does that make any sense? But we're trying to just look at what price action gives us, right? SoFi right now is at its all-time low, and it's doesn't look like it's healthy. So we're going to continue to go short on SoFi, and there it is to the downside, and it sucks for sure. But, making that money back here a little bit on SoFi. So let's put another bid out here on SoFi. Get out. It's right near VWAP, so that's starting to work for us. NEO's starting to come back down. The only problem that we have right now is Rivian. I did take another reload there because it looked like we might have stopped at 42. But again, 42 breaks. We're going to just get out of half of what we have left, which really just means we have 25% of our position left. We got out of half on the 41.50 break right here, and that one was a reload gone wrong. Rivian. Reload. And they're not even really reloads. They're just averages in because we never really got out of our Rivian position. All we talked about was take the hit, man. We took the hit at 40.29. We took the hit at 40.60. We took the hit there on the break. But now that move was upside right there. And I just asked Neil again, is there any news on Rivian? Response, no. So I believe that. So let's see if we can. I mean, I have no reason not to believe it. And I can't find anything. Neil can't find anything. So I'm going to hope that it's nothing, and that was just a nice bump up. But again, we will lick wounds at $41. We just reloaded that at 41.60. We are short at 41. So it still has a lot of opportunity to come back down. But again, upsized position, we need it to work. So we're going to take a little bit more out here as Facebook continues to work for us. SoFi continues to work for us. NEO and Rivian coming back in, trying to save the day.
Yeah, as the market now has put in that 44.35 new low, we're going to start to offer
New low.
We're going to start to make some offers into the mid-40s, see if we can get a fill. Remember, stop on this is going to be on the futures. I'm going to actively look for some futures trades. Apart from, actually, no, that one I already mentioned, the Facebook short, right? We already got into that one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So we're looking to fade it now. Or we're not going to fade it. We're just going to let it bounce back up. We're going to offer right here in the mid-40s and work this entire area. So actually, it's probably better off if I just do this. I'm going to work this entire area for shorts, this entire area, now that we are down where we are. So I'm going to start at the front end, and then if I need to start averaging through there, I will. But for the time being, that's the read. We're going to have to wait for it. I'm not pricing it in. I am not pricing it down here. Absolutely not. That is just way too dangerous and too far away for me to price it down here. So I'd rather wait for a bounce to get that fill. We are getting Netflix, which was $3 in the money, is now $1.91 in the money. So nice little bounce, it seems like, on Netflix here off that 350 break. That's fine. Facebook, $1 in the money, that's moving well. We're positioned right. Apple bouncing back. Apple's the one I was hoping we would get a little bit more movement because I'm actually looking to take profit on Apple a little bit further than where we were. I was looking for closer to that 216 area, or not 216, 166 area. That's a bad chart actually. If we were to go to this one, I was looking a little bit closer to that 166. We decided that we didn't want to get too far away from that 166.50. I'm not moving up, but I am going to move. The trail has already been moved up just north of 168, right? So we're locking in about 40 cents or so. Even in the event that Apple kind of snaps back on you, that's fine. But lock that in as long as you get the movement. In this case, for now, CAT is holding up well, only 18 cents with the new low being put in. And somebody was asking, how do you look for relative strength? Well, in real time, something I like to do is, this is what I have up here. These are all the top names in the indexes, right? This is an easy way to go about it. Obviously, CAT's not on this list, but at the same time, you can just put up the top names by weight in these indexes, and you see the general consensus. We're going to be down multiple digits. Here, NVIDIA down 5.3. Relative strength in the top of the index list is AVGO, only down 0.37 when the rest of the market is getting taken down hard. So we're going to leave that alone. Relative strength in the S&P, what do you have? You have JP Morgan and BAC, relative strength in the banks. So easy way to look at it is to kind of just list them off, put them in a section like this where it shows you percentage value, and you can easily see which ones are strong. If it's part of the group that you're looking at, we also have lists like, hey, NASDAQ is down 1.6 as a whole. Which one's not reacting that aggressively to the downside to that kind of movement? So that's kind of the easy way of putting them up in front of you so you can visually see the relative strength and weaknesses out of the individual names in the market.
Just a couple of quick things here. You mentioned the banks. U.S. insurers strong as well. Have a quick look at AIG. There are some headlines coming from across the pond. EU like intensify weapons deliveries to the Ukraine. Some other headlines coming through. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we're less than an hour to the close of markets over in Europe. Ms. V, how are things going across the pond?
Hey Neil, European markets are mostly negative with French elections on its final round of voting. Nokia Tires is down more than 14% after saying that new sanctions imposed by European Union on Russia will have a significant impact on its production. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. V. That Viru, by the way, still running, surging on intensified volume, up 70%. It broke 7. It just tested 750 to the upside. So still the small cap volume leader. That one was heading off the small caps on our watch list and breaking out in a big way today.
All right, I just cashed out of Netflix here. I don't like what Netflix is doing after that move south of 350. Remember, we're going to start managing it. The whole point of Netflix short, the mid 50 short, was to see what it would do south of 350. So at which point I would start managing it. This isn't good, at least for my short anyways. So I don't need to put up the $6.50 to $7 risk that I was going to put up to take this short for us to bounce this aggressively off that 350 again. We got underneath, we got a huge buy, we kind of faded back in, and then we're going to buy again this aggressively. It might still keep going, fine, but I don't need to put up the risk to see it now. So I'm going to take my 40 cents and walk away on Netflix. Yes, it's not $3 like it was, but 40 cents is 40 cents, and I'm protecting risk at that point. So we're walking away from Netflix. We are still short Facebook, up 89 cents. Apple still up $1.52. PayPal is out $1. It's been out pretty much all morning. And then Caterpillar's out 20 cents. It's kind of messing around a little bit, but it's been relatively strong for what the market has been doing. So we're going to wait this one out and see if we need to hold on to a little bit longer. I am still looking for potentially Dash, but Dash is bouncing off that 103 into the 104. So I'm going to reset the alert on Dash, see if we get back underneath that 103 one more time before we decide to go for the short. Apart from that, I don't see myself getting into too much now that I know that I want to start working into futures positions. As you may or may not know, I primarily focus on that. So majority of my risk goes there. So as soon as I got the read on the futures, I'm going to pull back a little bit on the equity side so I can allocate pretty much all of the risk over to the future side for any future positions, but any positions going forward. So we're going to wait that one out and see if we can get a fill there. I'm not going to price it at 35. It's going to have to be in the mid 40s. So we need to get that bounce to get going for the shorts. And we're just going to carry the rest. The 4 positions I've got, I'll carry. Futures position, I would like to get into if we can just get that bounce going one more time.
Yeah, good luck to Neil on the Veru short here. It's coming back in, so that's a good call. Hopefully this can come in as well. If you're short it, if you're long it, Neil just went over some levels as well. So far, so good. And honestly, man, it's not like it's the bane of my existence, but it seems like it is today. We just got some more out there of Rivian. Things are going well for us now, but I just $3 in the money now on Facebook, and it's just again, it's trade what you trade best, man. And it's stay within, your sort of, I don't want to say
lane.
Yeah, I mean, we always say that, but I was going to say stay in just where you're comfortable. And it's just Rivian, when we didn't see any news there, and I'm sorry about talking about the same name, but I'm talking through my own mistakes here, and that's what we do on the show. And it's when this just started happening, there was so many opportunities to get out of this name, and I didn't do it. And it's just when we started taking out, even right here, this is a nice little level right there. This shelf here at 40, we held, and then broke down and never came back up. So I could have got out of this right here at 40. After one average in, two average in, out at 40, regroup. I mean, the longer term scale here for a Rivian, and that's my out's going to be 42 because that's obvious right here. This is 42 right here. Goes right there, goes right there. Just as obvious as 40, 60 or whatever it was. That's really, once you get hit out, you can afford it. Especially me sitting here trading every single day. I can afford to wait this thing out. It's 10:30. The market's been open an hour. So it's just be a little patient. And now look what's working. Now we're huge in the money on all these names. But we've already taken lumps. So Facebook, give me a break. 350 now, Arun, in the money. I know you're in this trade as well. I know you have a little bit after me. Did you just, and I apologize if you've already said this because you probably already have. Do you have a target out, or you're just now that we've broken through, let's just let Facebook go? Because honestly, here's the 20-minute for Facebook. We have broken now, right?
Yeah, I want to see what the low brings.
Right. Okay, me too. So good. So I'm glad we're in the same frame here because I'm looking right into here 212. 212 is a little too low. 214 maybe, where there's some consolidation right here. So I'm going to put right now on Facebook. We're already in the money, 350. I mean, if this thing goes to 214, then hallelujah for that. But I'm going to put a bid there, 214.50. If we get a little bit of a flush down, which is possible in this name, we're 350 in the money right now, and we just took the trade on Facebook. We just took the trade at 10 o'clock. So, 40 minutes, we're 350 in the money. Could we not get another $2 on this in the next hour or so or earlier? I mean, both Neil and I, both Arun and I and Neil, all don't have that crystal ball. And if you do have it, send it over here. You can find our address on the website at tradertv.live, and we'll be able to hit that up together. But there goes Rivian now to the downside. We've made a lot of money back on this name, but I'm going to try to hold out for at least VWAP. So I'm going to put another bid here at 40.50, and if we can get that, then that's good. We are now in the money. $1 on this name, $4 on Facebook, and then NEO's come back in as well. I may just get out of more of NEO, but again, if this market continues to fail, I feel like the upside's already in. So now we have to hold out and see if we can get a little greedy on the downside because we took some lumps on that upside.
What a mess. Oh, Netflix. Remember when I said, I'll take my 40 cents and run? Yeah, Netflix decided to do a U-turn and decided, hey, you know what? We're going to go south of 350 once again. Now it's at 349. I walked away. I just saw the chart because I haven't changed it over. I'm like, damn, really, Netflix? You're going to do me dirty like that? But hey, I also looked up at the chat. I saw Frank saying he was about 9 cents away or 7 cents away from getting out, but I guess he's still in. Good job on holding on to that one, Frank, because I clearly walked away at the wrong time on Netflix. But the big story, finally, PayPal, the one that has been out of the money the entire morning, has finally came back in, now 24 cents. It's not a big winner, but it's finally a rotation in PayPal. We are short. We've been short for a while now, but here is PayPal right here. We've been short in the pre-market. If you guys can see that, yeah, right there. We've been short here, took a ride all the way up through 1150, and now we're back down in the money. Finally, we're getting going on PayPal, so that's in. And hilariously enough, Caterpillar, remember we talked about relative strength? Caterpillar, even with the market putting in new lows, even with the NASDAQ down 1.87, S&P down 1.1, Caterpillar still 12 cents in the money. That is relative strength. So as long as the market stabilizes, and even if you get a bounce to the upside that I would short on the actual futures, Caterpillar can use that to actually get going to the upside. So that'll work out well. Relative strength in play, in show right now for you based on Caterpillar's movement. As you can see, as Facebook accelerates, Apple is accelerating, PayPal obviously has done a U-turn, and then Caterpillar up now 40 cents in the money. So as the market goes down, Caterpillar goes up apparently now. So we are getting that one going as well. Dash, I'm still working potential shorts. It's got to be that 103, but they did that 103 so quick, it was stupid. Remember, we were up at 104. I was like, oh, we got to get this price. And then it bounces. It's around 104, 104.50, and then does a full U-turn. Boom, quick move south of 102 and change. And now it's putting new lows. I don't know about that 103 anymore because this would lead me to manage the trade, right? I don't want to start getting in now that if I would have actually gotten out of the position by now if I had it. So we're not going to do anything there. And futures, 32 and change. Prad sent me a little message with this. Prad sent me a little message of his trades, which actually looked pretty good. He actually caught the trades in the same area that I was thinking, which was that mid-40s. Prad, it was a good thing. Don't worry, no slippers coming your way. The trades were good. The trades were good. He was actually working some shorts, and he actually took some trades. So he's trading the futures a little bit more. He's trading the micro, I believe, right now. And that's actually looking pretty good in terms of futures trades. I'm still waiting for mine in the mid-40s, and I look up at the big screen. Neil's standing there. I see a lot of big squares that aren't looking pretty. Neil, what do we got going on there?
We are going to talk sector watch. Of course, the S&P one does not want to load for me, so I'm going to watch the NASDAQ here. Keep in mind that we have seen financials look relatively strong as well. Some of those insurance names, AIG looking particularly strong on the session as well. If you look at communication, Google down 2.4%. You do have Comcast up. Remember we talked about the closing of that AT&T deal, so both Comcast, AT&T on the rise there, guys. Facebook 1.8% to the downside. Netflix down 1.6% as well. In the consumer staples names, you actually have Walgreens Boots Alliance up 1.5%. This on the heels of falling on their earnings last week, but a strong move for them so far. With Costco, which has been an absolute boomer. Costco, one of the stronger names out there, down 2.6%. Lululemon down 2% as well. Airbnb basically flat. Over in the autos, you talked about Rivian there, Sean. Lucid is also up 2%. This with Tesla down 3%. So the move that's happening in Rivian and in Lucid, not really anything that we see across the wires, but they have shown some serious relative strength. It is pretty ugly for some of the main names in IT. Microsoft down 3.5%, CrowdStrike down 3%. So even some of the cybersecurity names, which have shown a lot of strength, are very weak. The one that stands out to me that we haven't even looked at is Costco, relatively weak. They were so strong just last week.
Costco, Netflix.
Wait a minute, Costco relatively weak? Okay, perfect. I need to buy something.
I saw Costco this morning. It was at 590 and change, and now it's at 587. But I also wasn't going to go short based on the daily. Remember last week when we were looking at potential longs on Costco? It was around that 590. If anything, I'd go dip buy action on Costco into that 585. It's the same read from about the day that we broke the 590, which was the 7th, right? This same area is now coming back into play on a potential bounce long if we can actually get this market to, this could actually work out well now, but I don't, again, I'm so caught, I've got my positions deep in the money. We got Facebook $3 in the money, Apple $2.10 in the money, PayPal 74 cents in the money, Caterpillar, the sole long, 42 cents in the money. I'm not putting any more equity risk on the table because I need futures risk. And that's my game, so I'm going to put everything I've got there versus adding more stuff to that. I've got out of my Netflix position, which is so stupid. Netflix now at 347. That's like a $6 winner.
You want to talk about stupid?
Yeah. What do you got?
Tesla, stupid. It goes all the way. But you know what, actually? So how, like, did that, when you got out of Netflix, how further did it go up? None, right? You got out at the top.
Like 30 cents.
Yeah, that's the part that's pissy, yeah. So I agree, man, because right there, at least when I got out of Tesla, when I look back at this, where we got out right there at 1,002, at least it went to like 8s or 9s. And that, you know, obviously so did Rivian. But yeah, you could see that short now paying down. And I mean, I just honestly, $5 right now in the money. And I was sort of saying, and that's why I was like, okay, you know, I made back like if I was down $3,000, I'm now only down 1,500 type of thing, right? So we made back half. And look what's happening. Like, stick to what the hell you're doing.
Ooh.
Look at SoFi. We talked about this name, downside. Down SoFi. So we hit this one, man. We're 30 cents in the money on the $7 name. We're $5 in the money on a name that I trade every day. And I was just saying 6 minutes ago when this was $3.50 in the money, I said, can we get to that 214 level? I mean, now we're just, you know, a whisper away from that level coming down through. And of course, Neo still saying, hold my beer. So I say, okay, you know, we'll tick that up like Steve Austin and we'll get out, we'll clang those beers together. And then just say, you know what, man, let's get another piece out. And there's another piece out right there on Neo. And we actually just got out of everything there by accident. But we're out of Neo now. So we'll see if that one continues to fall down, fine. But for right now, Neo continues to work it. I'm happy with it. Getting out where we did, but again, Neo, negative Nancy for me today on that stock, so not much there, but we just got out on that 50-period break, 96, 97. I'm pretty happy with that. If we're gonna hold any shorts, someone keeps calling me. I'm gonna find out who that exactly is after the show. Hopefully they're leaving a message. But Facebook, downside move, we talked about that. Maybe time to cover some. We don't trade together, but we can obviously bounce ideas off of each other. Can I get a quick update there? Just like you got out of Facebook, or Netflix, sorry. Is this a cover spot maybe? Because the NASDAQ looks like it might want to bounce here.
Bounce, please. I want to get shorts.
I want to get more short.
I want to get more shorts. I'm not taking, like, I have my first target on,
right now?
I got my first target on Facebook up in the 214, 213 and change area. So we are still about $2 away from me starting to actually actively look for a exit point. But at the same time, I'm also going to trail this. I'm not going to let this one come all the way back. So right now, actually, I'm glad you brought it up because I was actually going to do it, but I was going to wait a little bit longer before I did it. I think the trail spot, we're priced in at 219 even, right? 219.05. I think the first trail spot for me would be a portion just north of the highs or the lows that we initially put in, which is around that 217 area. So a portion there, and then the rest of it are north of 218 and change. So we're going to keep a very close eye on it. I will start looking, because my first target, if my first target is down here and we don't like get down here, I mean, I'm not going to hold out hope that we get down there. I have to actively manage this as it's going in the money and not give up a ton, right? So for now, we're going to keep it up here. The trail points are going to wait up here. But the more this keeps going, or even if the more it keeps going sideways, I can actually bring the stop down and protect portions of this position, right? We're going to leave the order there, but on the way down, we are protecting portions of this position so we don't give up a $3.54 winner. Apple's $2.24. But Apple, the thing with Apple, though, we have targets already in place, and we're not that far away. My target's not even 10 to 15 cents away from Apple because we're waiting in front of the 166s. So this is going to be some of Apple's going to be taken out soon on a move a little bit lower. Hopefully we get a look at that 166. So I'll wait on that one. PayPal, as soon as we take out that low, that 108.50, there's going to be a brand new stop so I don't get caught in a mess where it's a failed low break. So we are going to move the stop on PayPal to, I need to let it go first. It needs to take out the low. Once the low goes, it's going to be just north of 109 and change. That way I'm locking in, worst case scenario, I'm locking in about 40 cents or so in the event that we actually get a failed break and then bounce back up. You may have seen my screen for a long on my screen, a TJX long. That was a long I wanted earlier this morning that after the futures trade set up, I never got a chance to cancel. I got filled and then I immediately got out with a 1 cent winner. You know, that's just me covering myself, walking away from the risk because I don't want to put it up, right? So that's just me walking away. I am going to hold on to the 3 shorts, the 1 long, all of them in the money, even Caterpillar, 1 cent in the money if that counts. And we're going to wait for the futures to get a bounce back up. Unfortunately, it's a lot to ask too. It's going to have to be like a 15-point bounce for me to get started on these shorts on the futures. But hey, that's what it takes. I'm not putting up any
before we go
risk.
to Neil, yeah, just quickly because you might see a couple different positions come in. So you know, sometimes you make keystroke errors, and it's not that I made a keystroke error. I had the number lock, like obviously I'm sitting here doing all these things with my keys. So when I tried to change share size, which is why I wound up getting out of Rivian and Neo the full load, because I tried to change the share size and it didn't work because I had number lock on there, and my hand just slipped and hit that. So we did reload Rivian, and we did reload and NEO. So we do have different prices now. Not trying to do anything tricky there, but that out right there, I talked about it. We didn't mean to get out of it all. And then I was like, what happened there? We checked it out, and it was a number lock situation. So just like the situation on Jersey Shore, yeah, we're idiots. And that missed that opportunity right there. So we are reloaded back into NIO on a little bit of a downward move here in the market. I just want to give you guys an update there that's why my prices have changed. And just to show, there's the Rivian again. So we got out. I don't know if I can zoom in just quickly. I'm not going to leave Neil hanging because we're getting on time. But we got out there all of our shares. And as soon as I realized it, I just got into more shorts. So I just wanted to let you guys know that if we do have a difference of prices, like what happened to my shares, I made a keystroke error and then reloaded them. Wound up paying about 10 to 15 cents each stock. So again, maybe today is not my day, but that's what happened there. And honestly, right now, man, SoFi is a good little move. But let's go over to Neil with happening now, or no, money talks at the big board as we're getting on the show.
Big moves we have across cryptocurrencies at least, but starting with some of the other names out there. Look, it's US dollar strength continuing versus the CAD, 0.5% CAD weakness there. Also yen US down 1%, but the real story, and we got to highlight what's going on in crypto land. You got Ethereum, you got Ether right now testing that $3,000 level, down 7%. Bitcoin down 5%, testing close to that big $40,000 mark. So across the board, tons of weakness overall in the crypto space. You do have some strength in the euro, but really it's been a woodshed for some names in the overall market, but crypto getting absolutely crushed.
Yeah, crypto is absolutely going crazy right now. But actually, it's kind of it's not really going crazy right now. But if you break that 40 and you break 3, that's what I meant. That's where we get a little crazy on that name. And man, just so you guys know, like that Veru right now is like $8. I don't have any shorts. I know Neil, I guess we have to pay for these shorts. I could try it, but I'm going to assume we have to pay for it. Okay, here we go. 805, 880, like it's just going to the upside here. And we haven't talked about this all day, but I mean, if you're shorting this, I mean, you have 11, 1050, 1080, like, I don't know, man. It's not my wheelhouse, which apparently today, not much is my wheelhouse. So I just want to give you that update because I'm just noticing it like going crazy. The leader today, and you're going to get a lot of this from Trader Pratt and Ms. V coming up, but the volume leader easily today, 100 million shares. Veru just going to the upside there. And again, on our watch list today. So make sure you grab the watch list all day. And I believe we talked about this with someone earlier today as well. No, it wasn't Frank. No, maybe we didn't. But we did highlight this in the small cap recap that Neil had early on. So good job on that. And it's just taking out levels. Like this was $6 when we brought it up today to you. And now it's $8.50. So congratulations anybody that plays these kind of games. Again, not my wheelhouse, but wow, really taking off. $8.30, $8.50. Geez. Just nuts, man. Today is like kind of crazy day. A lot of names working the way you think, and then some just like no, thank you, Veru. Wow, that's going to be 100 million in just a couple of seconds.
All right, we've cashed out some of PayPal. Potential double bottom kind of, you remember I said 219 is where I wanted to put the trail stop if we took out the low. I'm starting to see the action in front of this low going, I don't know if I want to hold all of it around here. So we're going to wait, give it a chance to actually take a shot at the low. I've already cashed them out. Actually, you can see it on this chart. Can you see it? You see it. You barely see it because of the lower third, but there you go. So cash some out in front of that 109. I'm going to hold the rest, give it a chance. If we take out that 109.50, we're going to walk away from the rest of it. But hey, we still got Facebook, $3.10 to the money. I'm looking to put a close trail stop just north of 216 on some of it, and we'll let the rest of it go. We've got Apple, $2.07. We got close to getting some out. No fill, though, as it put in that low here around 217, or around that 17 area. The low is about 166.17. We're sitting a few cents past that. No fill there. So I'm going to walk away from some of it as we break through that 50 to the upside. I mean, we got close, didn't get filled. I'm not going to be greedy with it and hope that we get filled later. This is the area that I'm worried about. So if we're going to bounce off that area, I need to protect against a full pullback, right? So we're going to let that one go. Caterpillar out 12 cents. Hey, that's a lone long, holding up well against this kind of a market. And then PayPal again, like I said, 109.50 is going to be the exit. So for all the trades that worked out so far, all of them have been locked. The ones that have been locked in, Baba, Netflix, stupid Netflix, still a winner though. Baba, Netflix, big winners, right? Well, Baba's the big winner. Netflix is just an exit. And then the ones that we've got right now, Facebook, Apple, doing really, really well. $3 and $2 in the money. And then Caterpillar flat, and then PayPal 10 cents out, locking it in. I'm going to hit my first animation of the day. There you guys go. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. And then we're going to wait for these futures. Hopefully we get another 10 to 15 points on a bounce on the futures so I can work some shorts. Neil.
It's not a lot on the earnings boards, but there are a couple of names that you might be somewhat interested in. We talked about Walgreens specifically there a little bit, but yeah, earnings board a little bit light. We do get the banks midweek on Wednesday. We get JP Morgan, and then later on some of the others, but a couple of names out there.
Yeah, so Albertsons, yeah, that was the call that we had earlier on. So let's, we can check out ACI. I really like ACI. I talked about it. Obviously, we don't put on positions while we're on the show other than the ones that we show you. So I think after this show, I will look into that one. I do think with Kroger going the last couple days, let's just have a quick look at ACI before I should talk about it and know what it's doing today. So flat today, actually giving me a better opportunity to buy, down 0.82 right now. So I like it, man. I like this name. I like the grocery space. We talked about that, obviously, a recent IPO. And if you remember the stock father, well, shout out to Mark Roberts. Hope he's doing well. And again, a lot of people ask us about Mark Roberts. We would love to have him back on. He took a different direction, which is completely fine for us, and we thank him for everything that he did. But this was a name that he definitely liked. Obviously, he wasn't really talking about inflation or anything at these times, but I do remember this was a good one, a recent IPO, Albertsons, continuing to work. So I like this name. If you want to diversify a little bit, that's definitely a good one. I see over there, and I'm down with what day it is, although I don't need too much of this. Let's go over to Miss V.
Hey guys, thank you for starting this trading week with us. I hope you're doing great so far. And please don't forget to like this video. Just 400 likes needed for us to get 2,000. Join Prad and me right after. And happy National Cheese Fondue Day, everyone.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I like it. I think you got to have that. You got to have that nice bread with it, a few things to dip into it, breadsticks, so on and so forth. I like a cheese fondue, but it's not super popular in my household, although actually my wife would like it. Don't know if the kids would, so that might be something that we try. And you got to sort of have it at the right restaurant and so on and so forth, prepared properly right there. So yeah, shout out to anybody liking cheese fondue. Opinions?
I mean, I like to be a little bit healthier, so I'm going to say no to cheese fondue. Cheese is good, but fondue.
Let's see what Neil thinks.
Neil,
cheese fondue.
You absolutely already know I don't like it. I mean, I'm not a big melted cheese guy in the first place. Chocolate fondue, yes. I mean, I don't know. Cheese fondue, I can't do it, man. I just can't.
Neil's sweet tooth is insane.
I can't do it. It's just one of those.
He's got a big sweet tooth.
He's got a huge sweet tooth. Anytime we have something in the kitchen that's like sweet. The other day it was cookies and then it was donuts. And he is just on top of it. Sometimes we get Rice Krispie squares in the morning as part of the breakfast as well, and they're huge. This man,
also, those brownies are pretty good.
And brownies. And this man is just sitting there enjoying every single bit of it. And
I like the Rice Krispie square.
Yeah, so does Neil. They're huge, though.
They don't last very long around here, that's for sure.
I one time tried, and Neil was sitting here. I was like, I'm going to take a Rice Krispie square, and I'm just going to eat like half of it. Neil knows this story. And I was like, and then I'll have the other half after the show. And then basically every single break, I ate it, and then it was gone within, it might have been like 8:45 or something like that. And it was gone. That did not last long. But okay, without any further ado, I just wanted to bring up everyone's attention to Veru. You may have a turn here, and I don't know. I'm not shorted. I'm just talking, but wow, what a crazy spike we just had in the last little bit, up to 920 right there. So, man, anybody, I mean, you guys are ringing those registers. Throw some money around to Trader Prad because he'll be throwing out some stuff here for Veru, I'm sure about it. So watch out for that name as that's still going. We'll be back, us, Neil, back at 2 p.m. But right now, let's throw it over to Trader Prad and Ms. V to your Morning Movers show. Boom.
Welcome to April 11th, a new week, a new Monday. It's time for the beautiful Miss V and Trader Prad.
Thank you, Brad. Indeed, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having a great Monday. As usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, and smash that like button. I've heard from Arun you're having some nice
It was supposed to be a
taste
secret,
today.
Arun. I wanted to show it on this show, but now I guess there's no point even.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, I can't even talk too much today because this weekend was too sports filled for me, and I was just sitting there screaming at the whole time at my monitor, or not